Hey, welcome back, guys. It is great to be back here with you guys at the cafe. Today, guys, we're going over yet another hearing in Idaho 4 situation with Bryan Kohberger. Thank you all for tuning in and hanging out with us as we do that. Please hit the like button as you come through the door. Share it out, if you will. And let's get the show on the road. Here we go. Hello, and welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here. Sorry, guys, my granddaughter popped in here for a second. Come on in, grab a seat, go grab your drinks, whatever you need as we go through this. Um, Hearing again, we're not gonna drag through it, so I'm gonna try to bounce through it quickly and hit everything important on it. So thank you guys for being here for it. I appreciate you so very much. 30 people in here, guys. 16 likes. I appreciate that so very much. Oh, shoot. And we have a mama bear. Wow. Surprise, surprise. Twice in one day. That's awesome. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you very much.
You're welcome.
Anything's better than doing it lonely. Or
Right?
alone, I should say. Anyway, I appreciate you. And everybody else in here, thank you so much for joining me. Blue Crew, I appreciate you very much as well. For joining us. Thank you for all you guys do because we couldn't do it without you. Appreciate you very much. All right. And 30 people, 16 likes. Let's see if we can make that match, guys. Let me get something up here real fast. Hopefully, cross your fingers, Bear, that this works better than it did this morning. Because it sure wasn't working this morning the right way. Oh, wait a minute. It was weird the way it was doing it. It was almost like there was something working in the background, and that was taking the speed that I needed to do my. You know what I mean? It was strange. Let me see. Okay. There's two parts to this, I think, too. So, yes, I got her twice in one day. I hope I'm not getting on your nerves. That's a lot to me of me to deal with in one day, Mama Bear. How are you doing it? See, she's just ignoring me now. That's all. That's how she does it. She just ignores me. That's helpful.
Whatever. I'm talking to my kid. Hold on.
I was just kidding with you. Congratulations, Cockney, for being a member for 4 months. Speaking of, let's see who else do we got in here. Of course, Cockney's in the house. SRBBBBB. Welcome back, Lisa Joe. Good to see you. Donald D. Good to have you here, brother. Candidly, welcome back to you. Mind Boggles, always a pleasure to see you. Brandy B, the OG. Dandy Lioness, good to see you. Welcome back, Kaylee Stanford. Miss Stormy, Dial Up Dreamer, welcome back to you. Simply Solo, welcome back. Good to see you. What does she usually say? Hey, Yins. Yes, there it is. Dago and Yins, y'all. Hello, welcome. Stitches is in the house. Welcome back, Stitches. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Julian, welcome back, my friend. Mittens for Kittens, great to see you as well. LR, hello to you. Hopefully there's no J in front of that. It's just LR. I'm just teasing you. Welcome. Good to have you here. I hope you're having a great day. Mr. Steven, welcome back to you, my friend. 31 peeps in the house watching, guys. Please make sure to hit the like button if you would. Miss Cat K, good to see you. Welcome back. Brutally Honest, great to see you as well. All of you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I think I got everybody. Let's see how fast we can get through this too, by the way. So we have some air left in our lungs to cover the Ananuki tonight. 36 watching. Thank you, Donald. All right, y'all. Let's get this thing going, please, if we can't. Oh, okay. Sorry, SRB. I just saw that. All right. Let's see here. 1 second. There you go, Donald. There's a link for you to pop up there if you'd like to, sir. I just saw that, my friend. I'm sorry about that.
Sandra. All right, this is continued hearing in State v. Kohberger, CR012.
Here we go.
31665. Defendant is again present with counsel, Ms. Taylor and Ms. Massoff. The state is present, represented by Mr. Thompson, Mr. Nye, and Ms. Jennings. This morning's hearing will discuss the motions to suppress. And
I caught you, Molly. I'm just kidding. You're okay, dear. Thank you for being here.
Any evidence related thereto, as well as we'll get into the argument on that. So with that, I understand the parties are prepared to proceed. The defense, do you have witnesses to call this morning?
Welcome, Donald. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
My phone ringing. Hang on a minute.
All right. Who's your first witness?
Corporal Brett Payne.
All right. Let's get
here we go, right out the door.
Payne would step forward.
I'm going to tell you one thing. That judge was no BS.
Oh yeah, he don't play. He don't play at all. He's not going to put up with anybody's shit on either side, and I like that about him. That means everything's going to get done right, as far as I'm concerned.
You were sworn yesterday, as I recall, but we'll go ahead and do it again just for formality's sake.
Good morning. Could you please state your name and spell your last for the record?
Brett Payne, last is spelled Payne.
And what's your title?
I'm the Detective Corporal for Moscow Police Department.
Can you tell the court, I know you testified yesterday, but it was a different hearing, and so just to lay a little bit of foundation, can you tell the court your background in law enforcement?
So I've been with Moscow Police Department for almost 7 years now. Prior to that, I was in the active duty military for 6. 3 of those were as a commissioned officer in the Military Police Corps.
What is your role in this case?
I was assigned lead detective in this particular investigation.
And so, as lead detective, can you explain from your perspective what that has meant that you have done?
Certainly. So it was my responsibility to basically view this investigation from a 30,000-foot view, if you will. Directly, it's the teams that were assigned to various tasks, and then taking all that information, synthesize it, put it back out to our group, and then eventually consolidate it into an affidavit.
And in terms of that affidavit, yesterday there was some discussion and testimony about that and how it was created. Would you explain that?
Absolutely. So the information was brought to us via various teams and specialists in their particular areas. For instance, most of the cell phone stuff was covered by Special Agent Balance from the FBI. All that information was brought to the team, relayed back out at least twice a day. And then as that information was essentially synthesized, it was put into a running document, a living document that is now known as Exhibit A.
So when it was characterized yesterday as a group effort, do you agree with that characterization of it?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know approximately how many warrants you worked on in this case?
I don't, ma'am. Several. I don't know the exact number.
Right. I'm going to walk you through several segments of different warrants. And some of this may seem choppy, but I'm going to try to do you and then Detective Mowry at once instead of bringing you back and forth. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Sounds good.
All right. And Judge, I have paper exhibits for you and for the witness. And so I'll go as fast as I can, but I want you to be able to look at what he's looking at. So we're going to begin with the first AT&T warrant. Prior to this case, had you ever secured an AT&T warrant?
No, ma'am. I don't believe I had.
And so given that, who did you rely on in creating the warrant? For
Largely
AT&T?
Special Agent Balance. Obviously, he's the CAS expert, so I relied heavily on his input.
At the time that AT&T warrant 1 was secured, were you co-located with Special Agent Balance?
I believe so, yes.
Can you, well, in terms of being more specific, it was December 23rd. Were you two co-located at that time?
I believe so, yes.
And I know co-located has been talked about in court a couple of times, but can you just explain what it means for you two to be co-located since he's from DC?
Certainly. Yeah, he was in the same building as I was, just mere feet away from the command post.
Okay, so when you say mere feet away, were you guys?
I'm sorry. Welcome, Michelle. Welcome, I am me. I think I got everybody. Again, great to have you all here. I appreciate you so very much.
In like a cubicle setting, or were you in offices with doors? What was this setting in terms of proximity to each other a few feet away?
Yeah, I do believe this was Payne's first investigation as a detective. And that's pretty crappy to have that be your first, you know what I mean? That's wow. So you got to give him, I gave him that before, but I don't know. I'm just going to leave it at.
Yeah, separate offices with doors, but in the same second floor of the Moscow Police Department.
Are you aware of Special Agent Balance in his work in doing AT&T records, having any access to AT&T records without a warrant?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Are you aware of him having any ability to review AT&T records through any portal without a warrant?
Not to my knowledge, no.
I'm going to begin with what is known as State's Exhibit 1, attached to their objection to the motion to suppress AT&T warrant. And Judge, for today's purposes, what I'm doing is relying on the labels that are in the record as opposed to giving them new stickers.
This has been marked previously as State's S1, or is that 8-1? I can't.
I think it's SS for State 1.
All right, State's S1 affidavit for search warrant.
And now I've got to get,
Objection to the admission of that for today's hearing.
you know, Judge, I should have started out by saying that the same stipulation regarding the admission of all exhibits applies today.
But we do need the formality of moving for the admission, however. So that's why.
I can do that. Do you want me to do that per exhibit?
Well, it makes, as you're talking about them, it probably makes sense.
Okay, I've got to get myself S1. Okay, Detective Payne, can you look at page 5?
Ma'am?
On page 5, can you read what it says in the at the very end of the page in the sentence above wherefore that begins with the paragraph? It begins in support. Can you read that paragraph?
Certainly. In support of the assertion as to the existence of probable cause, the following facts are offered based upon personal knowledge of affiant. See attached statement of Brett Payne, which is marked Exhibit A and incorporated as though fully set forth herein.
And is that S1 the affidavit in support of the search warrant?
Yes, it is.
And that's the AT&T 1 search warrant that was the first one served on December 23rd, correct?
That's correct.
And that language that you put in there, Exhibit A, is incorporated as though fully set forth herein. Is that the language you just read?
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome, Terry.
Right. I'm now going to hand you State's Exhibit 2 to the AT&T first warrant. Can you review that first page, the first paragraph?
Of S2.
Pardon?
Are you seeking the admission of S2?
I am seeking the admission of S2. Just to be clear, Judge, all of these that I'm putting before him and the ones that are attached, we're seeking the admission of.
Objection to S2? All right, submitted.
Have you reviewed that, Detective Payne? Do you see that the language that I just referred to in the search warrant affidavit, do you see that same language in this warrant in where you incorporate the affidavit, incorporate Exhibit A into your, you see that language
Ma'am.
in S2? And is S2 the actual search warrant for AT&T?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Can you turn to the last page on page 4? What time was the warrant served?
10:03 a.m.
Do you recall that the return on that warrant came in at 3:30 that day?
That would sound correct. I don't remember specifically.
Would it help if I showed you the AT&T mobility propriety front page to verify?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I'm not seeking the admission of this, just for purposes of him being able to be certain. Sorry.
The witness may be shown the document to refresh his recollection.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Judge, for the record, this has also been admitted already in Frank's D17, page 634. Detective, can you see on that that came in at, I think it's 15:30? It's
15:31.
okay. Thank you. I'm now handing you Defense Exhibit A to the reply to the AT&T suppression motion.
This doesn't have a sticker on it?
Pardon?
This does not appear to have a sticker on it.
No, it does not, but it is attached to the reply as Exhibit A, AT&T. And that reply is, okay. Can you see line 4 there? Oh, sorry, Judge.
Copy and put, let's just, do you have a number that we were going to call this?
I would call it Exhibit A to reply, because that's what it is in the record. You see at the bottom of the page where it says Exhibit A, AT&T?
So this is the return of the warrant of S2. All
Yes,
right, let's call it S2.2 or 2.1, pardon me.
that's fine.
The fact that it's associated with that particular warrant. Allowed to touch stickers under the union contract, so why don't you give it to bailiff?
Detective Payne, on page 2 of that Exhibit A, it's actually just the front page where it says affidavit of Brett Payne. What does paragraph 4 say?
Paragraph 4 or line 4?
Line 1, 2, line 4.
It says the warrant was served on 12/23/2022 by email, fax, et cetera.
So do you know exactly what method was used?
I don't remember.
Okay, and it says warrant in that line, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it say anything about the affidavit in support of search warrant accompanying the warrant?
Oh, ma'am.
On the next page, the receipt and inventory of warrant, do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you look at description of property? What does that say?
It says 509-592-8458.
Can you explain how that's a description of property and what that means?
It just means essentially that there was the information retrieved as a result of that phone number being queried with AT&T.
And it indicates that that was produced how?
Entrance was obtained by email.
And when that was received, did you do anything to verify that the data was within the date ranges of November 12th to November 12th to November 14th of 2022?
I don't remember. That information was provided to Special Agent Balance as soon as it was received.
Do you have, when you say that it was provided to Special Agent Balance, is that because you don't have the capacity, technical skills, I guess, to review that raw data and do something with it?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there anybody else that you relied on for that other than Special Agent Balance?
Not that memory brings to mind.
Let's now turn to the AT&T2 pen trap, and also known as pen trap and trace. Can you explain what a pen trap and trace is?
So pen register, best of my knowledge, now granted, as I've stated before, I'm not an expert in cell phone stuff, but best of my knowledge, a pen register tracks incoming and outgoing phone calls, text messages, so on and so forth. And then the trap and trace is the portion that essentially gives you location data, or the precision location data rather. So it's essentially incoming and outgoing calls, what messages are received, and then part of that was where that phone was located when it was doing it.
Was it required that you secure the AT&T first warrant to obtain the second warrant that included a pen trap and trace?
I don't believe it was required.
So when the data was received on at 3:30, you gave that data was given to Special Agent Balance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then what happened in between 3:30 and 4:53 when the second warrant was secured?
Are you talking technically speaking, or can I speak in generalities? Because that's all I really know.
Well, I want you to talk about what you know.
So the only thing I know is that that information was provided to Special Agent Balance. He utilized whatever tools he has at his disposal, and then it was decided upon to go after the second pen trap and trace.
When did you start drafting that second trap and trace?
I don't remember.
So on that day, you did one in the morning that was secured at 10:03.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the second one was secured at 4:53 p.m. And you don't have a recollection of when you were working on those?
I don't remember. No.
All right. I think you have State's Exhibit 2 in front of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you flip back to that one? Can you see on page 1, what does it say that the time of that warrant was obtained?
I know State's Exhibit 2. No, 10:03 is what it says. Is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm referring to the return, which should be in, I might be referring you to the wrong exhibit.
One, I believe.
And that was at 4:53. The second warrant was obtained at 4:53. I might not have handed you pen trap.
I don't think I have that one.
Yeah, my understanding is, just so we're clear, because I'm getting a little confused, is that we have the affidavit for warrant, the warrant and the return of the warrant all related to the first warrant to AT&T. And we haven't got the pen trap and trace warrant presented yet, I don't think.
Right, I've got it here. And Judge, for clarification purposes too, today as we're going through testimony, my plan was not to go through every single warrant that we're arguing about and get it in front of the court. I'm really trying to take kind of a scalpel approach on the issues that we want to point out to the court. So it does really feel like I'm jumping around, and I realize that. I hope to bring it all together in the end.
My only caveat being what I told you before is where you have is a broad array of documentation that you've presented. The court will not scour the record to find support for your motions that's not pointed out to the court specifically. And that's well established with case law in Idaho Supreme Court.
And Judge, that's why I am trying to grab the pieces and parts that I want you to be able to identify. And that's why I'm putting the paper in front of you. So I'm hearing you when you've asked us to do that. All right, I'm handing you State's Exhibit 1. And this is to the second AT&T warrant, also known as pen trap and trace.
This one is also listed as S1 on the sticker. So that's going to cause some problem, I suppose.
It's S1 attached to a different motion to suppress.
Well, hopefully we can figure it out when we're looking at the entire record,
Yeah.
but
And what I think, Judge, when you are going back and working with your clerk,
my concern, frankly, I know what all the documents are and what they relate to.
Yeah.
My concern is a reviewing court's ability to understand what you're talking about in court today and trace it to a stack of documents. That's my concern for this. So
and I understand that. And so in preparation for today, I mean, I really did think, do I need to go through and label all of these? And I thought that would create more confusion in the record because these are all attached to specific motions with these labels.
this is marked S1, titled Affidavit for Search Warrant and Application for an Order for Pen Register or a Trap and Trace Device.
Yes.
So on the record, what we're looking at.
So Detective Payne, is that the warrant that, that affidavit in support of the search warrant that you drafted for that second AT&T warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
On page 11, at the bottom of the page, can you read that last sentence under probable cause?
Certainly. In support of the assertion as to the existence of probable cause, the following facts are offered based upon personal knowledge of the affiant. See attached statement of Brett Payne, which is marked Exhibit A and incorporated as though fully set forth herein.
All right, I am now handing you S2, which is the search warrant and order authorizing installation and or use of pen register trap and trace device and non-disclosure order pursuant to Idaho Code 18-6772. Can you please turn to page 7? Can you see what time that was obtained?
4:53 p.m.
I'm now handing you what is titled Return of Search Warrant, Exhibit A to Trap and Trace.
Does that have a sticker on it?
Pardon?
Does that have a sticker on it?
No, it does not.
It's 2.2.
What do you call that, Judge?
S-2.2,
S-2.
Welcome, Peggy.
further delineated by the title, which is related to the pen trap and trace.
On page, can you look at page 2? You see the top, who does it say it's the affidavit of?
Corporal Brett Payne.
Are you looking at Exhibit A, page 2?
Oh, correction. I see what you mean. Affidavit of Lawrence Mowry is what it says at the top.
Right, and then, but is that actually your
It is. Yes, ma'am.
affidavit? Okay, so that was a mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, what were you looking at?
On page 2, the top of it says affidavit of Lawrence Mowry.
Oh, gotcha.
It's the affidavit of Corporal Payne.
A heading problem there.
I'm sorry I have to say this out loud, but there's something about her that irritates the dog shit out of me. I don't know what it is. I've tried to not feel that way, but there's something about this attorney I do not care for. I don't know why. Other than the fact that she has a smile on her face 24/7. I can't handle her for some reason.
She has a history with this judge too.
What's that?
She has a history with this judge that's not very favorable.
Oh, no, you can tell he don't like her. You could tell that the first time they interacted on here. But yeah, there's definitely some heat there between those two, but I don't know why I can't handle her. I can't. I've been sitting here listening to her and I'm like cringing and all.
Seems like something's always off about her.
Yes, I do have to agree with that. I can't deal with her. Of course, I love Anne no matter what. I don't care who she's defending or what she's doing. I think a lot of people don't like her and I get it. It's okay. And I don't like this one over here either on the prosecution side. Ashley Jennings, there's something about her I don't.
Yeah, that's Jennings.
She always seems very like cocky. Sorry to interrupt, guys. I had to tell somebody how I felt about Massoth over here. Sorry. Yeah, I'm
now
with
handing
you on that,
Exhibit
Solo.
C to the reply to trap and trace. It does not have a sticker. And it says AT&T Mobility Carrier Request Form.
This again relates to the trap and trace warrant.
It does.
Let's mark that 2.
Welcome, Walt.
S2.3.
Jesus, Walt, really? Of course
In the
not.
next day or
Walt.
so, if you would provide a formal identification list.
Same
if you
here,
will, of
Cockney.
the exhibits that you'd stipulated to admission to yesterday, as I don't think we went through those individually, just so that there's a record of that.
We can do that.
Welcome, Archer.
Might take us a couple days, but we can do that. Can you look at, are you looking at that Exhibit C, Detective? Was cell site location data requested for this warrant on this page?
Yes, ma'am.
And was a timing advance report requested on this page?
I can't believe Bill hasn't spoken through any of these hearings. It's weird to me.
I'll refer you to the last paragraph where it says remark special instructions.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you see any reference in this document indicating that the affidavit in support of search warrant was included with the warrant?
No, ma'am.
Okay, the next warrant I want to talk about is Apple.
No, Walt, sorry. Could be a point there,
Prior to
Archer.
this case, had you ever prepared an Apple warrant?
I don't remember.
What was your training related to Apple warrants in December of 2022?
I had no official training at that time.
Honestly, Michelle, I don't know that it's that he dislikes Anne. I think there's a professional courtesy that they have with each other. I think, and this is just my opinion. Like you guys know, I love Anne, so it's I'm not gonna say anything bad about her but I'm gonna be honest. With Judge, she kind of always got her way. Okay, if you guys remember that, he kind of just handed her whatever she wanted. And I think she's kind of used to that a little bit. And this guy is not that. Hitler doesn't do that to anybody. I don't care who it is. He's not at all. So I think that's why it comes off maybe that he's kind of got a thing against Anne. But I definitely know that there's heat between him and Massoth. He does not like her. And we've seen that multiple times already. And there was a story I heard from somewhere that they had history. That I guess she's been disrespectful towards him a couple different times and like talks back to him a lot, so he doesn't like her. That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just saying.
I'm handing you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit A. It does have a sticker, and it's to the Apple motion.
Sounds great, Cockney.
Can you state what that document is?
It appears to be a preservation request.
And who is it sent to?
Apple Corporate Legal Counsel,
And what's its date? What is the date on it?
December 21st.
Of 2022.
Correct.
And that letter was not sent by you, right?
No, I do not remember sending this. No,
Well, can you look at
that's not me.
yeah, the top of it is Department of Justice, and the back, page 2 is Special Agent in Charge Dennis Rice.
Correct.
How was the DeSales email account known at that date?
I don't remember.
How did you become aware of an Apple product in this case?
Memory serves, when the search warrant in Pennsylvania was executed, there was an iPad that was located in one of the shared living spaces in the home. And there's a receipt in his vehicle, in Mr. Kohberger's vehicle, that was found for an iPad as well.
And during the home search, was the iPad seized?
It was not.
Why not?
It was in a shared living space.
Do you remember what day that the Apple account was created?
I don't remember. No, ma'am.
Does 2016 sound familiar with the research?
That sounds vaguely familiar. Yep.
And you mentioned the receipt that was found in his car. Do you recall the date that indicated that an Apple product was purchased?
I do not remember.
Right. I will show you State's Exhibit 1 to the affidavit for search warrant.
What's happening, Pappy Man?
That's
Good to
tab,
see you, brother. It's been a
the
minute.
receipt.
Great to have you here.
This is State's Exhibit S1, affidavit for search warrant to Apple Inc.
Is 2018 the date?
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly, Sherry. Very antagonistic, in my opinion.
Where did you get the form to prepare the Apple warrant?
A form? Be more specific?
Correct. Well, the search, so you're looking at the search warrant affidavit, and inside
Good
of that
point,
affidavit
Dan.
is a long list of items that you,
Welcome, Kim. Good to
request.
see you as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you get that information to be able to include that?
That was all provided to me from the experts in that particular field.
Good to hear, Pappy. I hope you're having a great new year, and I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, brother. And it's always good to see you here. Always.
I'm just getting S1 in front of myself for a minute here, Judge, so or I'm gonna have to give them a different exhibit.
Just so I'm clear, when you said the long list, are you referring to paragraph B on page 2?
On page 2, beginning on page 2,
Is that what you're referring to?
I'm referring to everything A through I.
I'm sorry, was there a question pending? I kind of threw us down a side alley there, so I apologize if there was a question pending that I threw you off from.
No, that's fine. I'm looking for the page here. Do you recall that in your affidavit, there's reference that iOS devices can use an iCloud account to back up the iOS device?
Yes, ma'am. That sounds familiar.
And what's your understanding when an iOS device uses an iCloud to back it up?
Similar to Google and many other of these digital operating systems, essentially they back it up to a cloud account. That information is stored not on your device only, but also in a cloud storage area. That's my understanding of it.
And so in an Apple phone, that ends up as creating a duplication of what's on the phone?
Essentially, yes.
And do you recall that in the affidavit, you made reference to the fact that Apple users get 5 gigabytes typically of storage and then can purchase more?
Yes, ma'am.
D. I'm handing you what's been marked as Exhibit D it's Defendant's Exhibit D to the Apple memorandum in support of suppression, and it is it does have a sticker.
All right, it's marked Defendant's Exhibit D, date 11/14/24, entitled Affidavit for Search Warrant, directed to Apple Inc.
Can you please turn to page 27?
The actual warrant itself that you're.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, well, I don't want to answer that as a yes before I look and make sure what this exhibit is.
I want to make sure because my page numbers run out at 25.
It's Exhibit A, and it's to the Apple warrant It says, so Exhibit D, Apple, the bottom map says page 27, but above that, it says page 23.
I'm there.
Okay. At the top, it says on January 27th, Apple Inc.'s Privacy and Law Enforcement Compliance Office responded with the requested records.
I'm not there. So can you
Oh, I'm
please
sorry.
correction? Are we looking at state
Exhibit D?
D?
Yeah, page 27 of my marking date. So it says Exhibit D Apple page 27.
On January 27, 2023?
Yes,
All right, go
yes. On January 27, 2023, Apple Inc.'s Privacy and Law Enforcement Compliance Office responded with the requested records. Can you explain what Apple responded to?
I don't remember what all they responded to. They responded to the search warrant and all those listed items that were in the warrant itself.
Okay. And the warrant, the date on this, if
Welcome,
you will
bro.
turn to, let's see,
Great to have you back, Cryptex.
turn to page 34 of the exhibit. Do you see the date of the warrant?
1st of August.
So I understand that you just said you don't know or you don't remember, but in this context, in your search warrant affidavit, you make reference to something being produced on January 27th to process to get a warrant on August 1st. Do you know what the process was that Apple responded to or what they produced?
I do not remember. No, ma'am.
I'm handing you Defendant's Exhibit B to the Apple Defendant's Memorandum in Support. It does have a sticker on it.
Okay, so here's my question to everybody in here. Do you guys want to sit through the warrants on things like this? Because it's really nothing. It shows nothing. It never has when they talk about these warrants. Do you want to sit through this, or do you want me to fast forward and get to some of the other stuff? It's up to you completely. I don't mind either way. SW Collectibles, hello and welcome to you. I like the collectible side of that. It's up to you guys. So if you guys want me to let this all play through these weird, boring ass warrants, let me know and I'll put a 1 in the chat and I'll be okay. If you want me to move on.
Yeah, the last 45 minutes is probably the real good stuff, probably.
Yeah, on the second half is what I figured. And that's the end of it's very good as well. So, okay. All right. I just didn't want to go forward without your guys' approval because you're here to watch this for reasons. So, okay, that'll work then. So we can just skip the whole first part of this, jump to the second half and move through that. Cause this is really all they're just talking about, like Amazon, AT&T, the boring ass warrant returns and stuff like that. It's just really ridiculous. And it has no bearing on anything that we really need to talk about. So, so I will jump to the second half of this and then we'll move through that as quick as we can too, because I know this is going to put some people to sleep if it already didn't put poor Mama Bear to sleep.
Not yet.
It's getting there though. Welcome, Molly May, LR.
And a lot of that they're just putting on the record, so they want it on the record.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, okay, good. You guys are awesome. My ADHD was starting to kick in pretty hardcore there. I'm just saying, sorry. Great to see you guys in here. I see a couple new faces. Pappy Man, we've missed you, my friend. All right, hold on. Let's get to the point where they actually come back in. Oh God, and she starts right up with it. Let me get through there. Where are we at here? All right, hang on. Let me jump to this and see where we're at here. Thank you, Captain Jax. Appreciate you, brother. They have an unsigned warrant. No, I didn't see it, Terry. That's why we were watching it. Now, let me see something.
The only thing they knew is that he's walking around from room to room and that he has some kitchen gloves on.
And so we don't see that there's any issue.
Holy hell, Bill
Now has a
starts
current cover
talking.
affidavit.
All right, let me get to about here. I think this should be about right.
Kohberger's phone, and then Google. All of these warrants were not general warrants. They were all sufficiently particular.
Hang on.
A production on a warrant. The steps that have been taken in between. to get the information to put into the warrant are completely unclear. And to the extent that these officers who swore to the contents of affidavits now have no memory of what that is, that's invalidating of those warrants. As for the arrest and the car and the apartment, what I will close by saying on those, because it's not an issue of general warrant or a discussion of particularity, those are more reliant on the issues associated with IGG and Franks. And with that, I'd ask that you find that the warrants that I've just discussed are general warrants, not particular warrants, and they should be suppressed.
Do you want to respond to that, or do you want to have the defense argue the additional warrant issues and then address them all?
I'll take your lead, but I'm happy to just address, to piecemeal this, and I can address just those.
I'm here in it all today.
I can make this pretty simple for the court. We don't have to go down the rabbit trail that the defendant would like you to go down. The search warrants regarding the particularity requirement. And this group that we're talking about is Apple, AT&T, there was a first
Hey, Ro.
and a second, Kohberger's phone, and then Google. All of these warrants were not general warrants. They were all sufficiently particular. They were specific to the type, each one of them listed that they were specific to the type of crime, the location, and all but one of them had temporal limitations. And for the one that didn't, that would be the cell phone warrant.
Wow,
That
welcome,
warrant
Moonvale. It's been a
particular
while.
to
Good to
types
see
of
you.
data that officers were allowed to search for. It's the state's positions, these were not general warrants, and your court can determine that just by looking at the face of the warrant. If you have any questions, otherwise, state submits, you should deny the motions to suppress for these issues.
I miss seeing a lot of these spaces. I'd love to see you guys more often. I miss a lot of you guys being in here.
Your Honor, I was asked to argue the motion regarding the raid on my client's parents' home, the search of his person here in Idaho, as well as in Pennsylvania, as well as and the Amazon warrant. I think for the most part, I'll just rely on the briefing. I just want to clear up a couple of things. One of the areas that was covered in the Pennsylvania home raid was that the state had to have a valid warrant in order to enter the home. I think in the briefing it gets a little confusing, but the point was not that Mr.
No worries,
was
dear. It's
arrested
wonderful to
walking
see you
down the
here
street,
today.
Via the usual channels in which that could have occurred. The point was that they had to have a valid warrant in order to get into the home. The only warrant that they have is the one that we're challenging via the Franks motion. And so that was the purpose of that argument. The other issue in terms of choice of law, it sounds like the state's kind of accepting that Idaho Constitution should apply. We set out a few different reasons why that should be the case. It doesn't seem like there's a big argument going on there. So unless the court has questions about it, I'll leave that alone. And then the other issue that I wanted to touch on is the right of privacy in the information that we have in our Amazon goings about. Why should the state have to have a warrant for that? I thought we set it up pretty well in the briefing, but I think the big concept and takeaway here is in Carpenter and Riley, the United States Supreme Court starts doing something different. And I think what the court is starting to
It's good to hear that, Pappy, brother. I'm glad to have you every time. So thank you for that and for being here, bro. Appreciate you.
recognize is that to a great extent, the United States has become a sort of panopticon. That is, the concept of the panopticon is you have a prison in which you only need a small number of guards because you have a very heavy-duty surveillance system. In the United States, we have via our phones, via the internet, much of what we do is now surveilled and very easily accessible. And so the fact that we have the third-party doctrine made sense when it was being adopted back in the 70s and the 60s. It stops making sense once all of this information is easily accessible in the way that it is. And so our point is that the judiciary has to have a role in this. There has to be a judge between us and the executive. Otherwise, we're essentially allowing the executive to know everything about us all the time. And so the state makes the point that, similar to the one that Professor Kerr made about going and getting bank materials, once those were things that could be done simply and efficiently via these records, a person didn't have to go out and get the cash. The state argues in this case, because of Amazon, Mr. Kohberger didn't have to go someplace to purchase items. All of that would have been out in public. He's doing it on his computer. And so why should that make it private? And the reason why that has to become private, Your Honor, is because of the vast amount of information that is now so easily accessible to the government. If we don't require a warrant, we essentially put all of ourselves at hazard of being snooped on at any time. And so I also just want to briefly bring up, I think yesterday the court had talked about privacy rights with the IGG databases. And I certainly want to make sure that we are preserving that argument. We included it in the briefing. We do believe that Americans have a privacy interest in the genetics they share with other people, and that other people then place within these databases. So that is not something that we intended to abandon in any way yesterday. If the court has no other questions for me, I would rely on the briefing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'd like to address just the third party doctrine, and then I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Thompson to address the other motions to suppress. And the case that we're talking about is the Amazon records, and that's what has to do with third party doctrine. And the U.S. Supreme Court case State v. Miller is the controlling case here. And Idaho courts, as explored in my briefing, apply Miller. And there's no reason for this court to diverge from that Fourth Amendment analysis. The documents are Amazon's business records. They detail transaction history. Business records are most akin to bank records, which is allowed. Applying the court's reasoning from Miller, again, these documents are business records of Amazon. They're not the defendant's private papers. Amazon is a party to those transactions. They have a substantial stake in these records. And the defendant took the risk when he revealed his affairs that this information would be conveyed by Amazon to third parties, including the government. It's the state's position, and it should be the position of this court, the defendant does not have a Fourth Amendment privacy interest in Amazon's business records. Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, Judge. I'm going to address, I guess, the remaining warrants or the questions raised by the defense about the remaining warrants. I'd like to start first with the warrants for the residents in Pennsylvania. That expands into Mr. Kohberger's person under the Pennsylvania search warrants for his person, for his car, which was in Pennsylvania, and then the defense also raises questions about statements made by Mr. Kohberger to law enforcement. First, as to 119 Lambston itself, one of the first things the defendant offers to the court is claims that there was no local warrant, valid local warrant, and that simply isn't true. As the record clearly demonstrates, there were 3 valid local warrants, Pennsylvania warrants, for the residents, for the defendant's person, for his car. The defendant then asserts, and I appreciate Mr. Logston's clarifications, but essentially the defendant asserts there needs to be a separate special warrant in order for Pennsylvania to take the defendant into custody as a fugitive from Idaho on our charges. And as we cited in our briefing on this, the statutes in Pennsylvania and Idaho are virtually the same, and they clearly contemplate that a felony fugitive can be taken into custody without a fugitive warrant under the circumstances that exist in this particular case. Now, if the issue is the law enforcement presence or access to the defendant inside his parents' residence, we would submit that's already addressed because Pennsylvania State Police had a valid search warrant for the premises, for the defendant's person, and for his car. So they had lawful process to be where they were, where they found the defendant and took him into custody as a fugitive. The knock and announce, there was discussion earlier today on the explanation of what happened with the dynamics of the knock and announce. That's detailed in Sergeant Lang's statement, which now has a current cover affidavit to it filed with the court. That's S5. I'm not going to publicly go through all the factors unless the court wishes me to, because they are quite incriminating as far as the applicable factors that would justify either an abbreviated knock and announce or, frankly, elimination of knock and announce entirely. And from what we have before the court now, it's clear that the Pennsylvania police were operating in a dynamic sense, reacting to real-time information that was coming in. That's all documented in various reports and log sheets that have been submitted with our pleadings, which are not particularly lengthy in nature. And finally, as to the defendant's statements, I think the key notion here on any statements the defendant made, and frankly, he really didn't make much in the way of incriminating statements, is there was never any interrogation. He was Mirandized eventually, but even the prior conversations that occurred with Pennsylvania law enforcement, there was never interrogation. And so Miranda is not implicated, and so there's no issue on the statements themselves. As to his car and his person, as I've already mentioned, there were valid specifics of Pennsylvania search warrants for each of those. So those are presumed to be lawful. There's been no substantive attack on those. There is a motion to suppress regarding, and I'll use the air quotes, arrest warrant. And frankly, I have yet to be able to figure out what arrest warrant is being referred to. But again, all the actions in Pennsylvania were taken pursuant to valid warrants, search warrants from the Pennsylvania courts and the applicable fugitive arrest statutes. And so we don't see that there's any issue before the court there. The defense also raised the issue of a search warrant for the defendant's person in a separate motion, which appears to be the search warrant for the defendant's person here in Idaho when he was returned to Idaho. And as the search warrant and the affidavit for the search warrant show, which were attached to our reply, there was a valid search warrant for that. I think any issues to be argued beyond that relate to the ITG and Franks that are already pending with the court. As far as the defendant's, the search of the defendant's apartment in Washington, for whatever reason, the defendant did not include all the documentation with their particular motion to suppress, but we provided that in our response, that there was the Washington search warrant. There was also an amendment to the Washington search warrant. The Washington search warrants, the applications included all the information, the Exhibit A information from the state, and then the WSU Police Department added their additional state of Washington specific information. There's nothing to question the validity of that warrant on its face. So, Your Honor, unless the court has questions, I don't have anything further to offer in the way of argument, oral argument.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. Fox, any rebuttal?
I think I just rely again on the briefing for the most part. In terms of the knock and announce, I think the totality of the circumstances of this particular raid are something that the court has to be cognizant of. If Dylan Roof could essentially be picked up in a parking lot outside of a drugstore or whatever it is that they were able to
Telling
do.
me facts about which I have no idea, and so it's not going to be helpful to compare it to
Well,
whoever Mr. Roof is. So
I guess the point is that in this particular case, the state manufactured the exigencies, if they had them at all. The reality is, as they explained in their own affidavit, they're essentially watching Mr. Kohberger as he moves around his house via snipers. I mean, they were quite safe, and there was simply no reason to bash the doors in momentarily after yelling from their bear cage.
there's two issues. There's officer safety. There's also destruction of evidence concerns.
In the cases that we cited, Judge, when the claim has been that there's evidence being destroyed, the evidence, what's known to the officers is something along the lines of they hear somebody running away after they announce themselves. It's not typical that the police simply don't knock and announce at all in those cases. They usually give the person the opportunity to surrender, but it's not a particularly long one. And in this case, they don't do that at all.
Hey,
And
Kimber.
the only thing they knew is that he's walking around from room to room and that he has some kitchen gloves on. And I don't think that equates necessarily to the destruction of,
Well, that's not all they knew, but I won't go into the detail in order to preserve so as that we don't go into those issues.
Thank you, Judge. But beyond that, we'll rely on the briefing. Thank you.
Okay. I'll take the motions to suppress under advisement and issue ruling forthwith. The next issue is the state's motion to compel regarding the defendant's expert disclosures.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the defendant's motion to compel.
Did I say the state's motion to compel? The defendant's motion to compel regarding the state's expert disclosures.
We did file ours yesterday, so their motion may be coming.
Well, I would be impressed if they had filed something already on that, given they were just served yesterday afternoon. So
They will. Thank you. Your Honor, we are here on our motion to compel, asking that the court remedy what the state has done with their expert disclosures. We rely on Idaho Criminal Rule 16 and the court's order setting out what we should do and when we should do it in this case.
let me ask a question from a framework
Welcome, Mom. Your link's in your Discord if you want it. If not, understood.
standpoint. I don't know what these folks are going to testify to at trial, specifically as it relates to what they've disclosed. The way expert disclosure issues usually works, I don't tell a party what you have to specifically disclose about your experts. You disclose about what you think you need to disclose. If you haven't disclosed it consistent with the rule and you try to offer it, there's a good chance it may not come into evidence. That's the general framework, so I'm a little, I guess, concerned about what appears to be you asking me to tell them what to say in their disclosures.
The court brings up a really, really good point. And I think it's a remedy the court has and one that we would hope and ask the court to issue in this case. I think when we filed the motion, Your Honor, we had a couple of disclosures that could appear to be disclosures with wiggle words in them.
Yeah, wiggle words are not going to save the lack of disclosure. I'll let the state know that right now. The fact that you say, well, you could talk about anything else, doesn't mean you
Wiggle
can
word.
talk about anything else.
In an abundance of caution, we were worried about those words. I appreciate what the court's saying, and I'm going to make this really short. The lists are problematic for us. There are 4 or 5 experts with lists. I understand what the court said. I like what the
They
court
also
said.
have reports that they reference.
The lab people do have reports. I understand those are their opinions. When we're talking about, and I'm going to specifically talk to you about their disclosure number 7, it's an FBI agent, Douglas. There's a list of financial records that he collected and looked at. other than that those records exist, there's not a report telling me what they mean to him at all. If he's limited to say, I collected these records, this is what we have.
My understanding, the state can correct me, is what I understand from the briefing is respect to that. And I think that's the Amazon documents, correct?
Those were some of those documents, Your Honor. There are a lot of others.
Was his expertise was in extracting or reviewing the information and how those were sort of obtained electronically and then simply guiding through, well, this is a transaction on this date that does this, which is not necessarily expert testimony, it's simply testimony.
No, but I believe it's a different expert that they have to do that does not have a report.
But is that expert testimony? Let's just say Mr. Kohberger on X date purchased a television. If for some reason that were to be important, and that this transaction demonstrates that this is Mr. Kohberger's account, this is Mr. Kohberger's credit card, and this is the purchase on Amazon. And that was delivered to this address associated with Mr. Kohberger.
Those are factual issues, Your Honor. It's when we get to what do they mean, or I put these things together and I've made this picture out of something. That when we get to opinion, I appreciate what the court's saying. It sounds to me like lists don't do it. If you want to interpret a record, that's what we hope to hear. That's what I wanted to accomplish today.
Well, I think it's pretty clear. You cannot simply say an expert's going to talk about topic A, topic B, topic C, and then be able to give a host of opinions that fall within those topics. The requirement is to list what their opinions are and what they relied on to give those opinions. It's different than the civil rule. I don't think they have to give as much detail as the civil rule requires, but they have to
Welcome, Mom.
give what the opinions are, and I believe what they reviewed, as I recall the rule off the top of my head.
I believe the court's about right. There may be another term or two in the rule that's specific, but I hear the court loud and clear. I'll point out one last thing and stop because I think I understand how the court interprets these issues and these rules. When you look at page 9 of the state's objection to our motion, and in the second to last paragraph, they tell you that they will continue to supplement their expert responses based on later discovery or whatever they decide to use. That whatever they decide to use has me worried. So I wanted to bring that up. I appreciate the court saying the court's going to apply the court rules and the discovery rules and follow the case law, and that's all we want. Thank you.
So that I'm clear, as the state's approaching to talk about this, in terms of supplementation, it's allowed. It needs to be seasonable, which means it has to be not just whole cloth new experts, for example, without good cause showing me why that's necessary. It needs.
She'll never get that limited thing. She's wanting stuff limited to what the experts are going to say for the state. She ain't going to get that.
Determined it was necessary to supplement. And then obviously we'll look at that in relation to what may prejudice the other side in terms of the timing of it.
Certainly, I understand that. Their discovery deadline has come and gone. If something brand new
Other side
happens,
in terms of
that would be a
timing.
different issue. I assume we
Certainly.
would deal with that then. It's when I read whatever we decide to use, that's very, very broad. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I got you, Donna.
I can keep this pretty short. I don't think that there's really much in dispute at this point. State's position, we've complied through our expert disclosures with Criminal Rule 16b-7, as well as your court's scheduling order. State understands the framework that you've outlined. We were under the same impression, and I don't think that there's anything else in dispute.
Yeah, so let me give you a word of caution. Sometimes there's dissonance between what an expert thinks that they're going to talk about and what the lawyer understands from that expert. And the lawyer submits these disclosures. And I think it's really important that you be on the same page if you don't have a specific written report from the expert about what it is they're going to talk about, and make sure that you have supplemented and that you have provided a listing of the opinions that are going to be provided and whatever else is required under the rule in terms of what that's based on. And I would encourage both sides to over disclose those opinions in caution rather than under disclose. Because two things. One, you may find yourself in a bad position if you're not allowed to go into an opinion you felt you were going to be allowed to go to because it's not disclosed.
This is from a little bit earlier, Cap. It's not live anymore.
And two, I don't want to spend half our day at trial with me saying, where's that disclosed at? And then chasing the jury out while you dig through your thousands of pages trying to find where that is. And so the more exhaustive your disclosures, the less likely it is it's going to draw that objection, and the less time that we're going to waste at trial trying to find where you disclose that. And so I think sometimes, and I'm not saying you did that in this case, I think sometimes lawyers view this expert disclosure requirement as sort of tedious work that they need to get done in order to comply with the timeline, a requirement of the court, and then they sort of move on from it and forget about it. It's a dangerous tact to take. It is, for the case, one of the most important things that you can do is to understand what the person is going to testify to, and give a disclosure of what they're going to testify to, what those opinions are, and to be looking at that as you're thinking about their testimony, as you should be doing certainly now, even though it's months away from trial, on a continuing basis. So I would really stress the importance of that in a case, particularly of this import. You know, and so don't feel like your job is done at this point, because I would suggest to you it's not. That you may consider needing to do some cleaning up and making sure things are more fulsome in the scope of those disclosures and what you're doing. The other thing, you know, I think you tried to do to a degree.
Take
is
care,
you have not
Moonbell.
really this
Thank you for
fact
stopping
testimony,
by.
but,
Please
you
hit
know,
the like button if you
you
don't mind on the
caution
way
to
out,
put it in an
dear.
expert
Have a great day.
Well, if you're going to put in an expert disclosure, because in the abundance of caution, it could be viewed that way, I suggest you
Telling him right here, no more slacking. He wants it in full details.
Say that again, boss.
He's telling them they're slacking when they're trying to do the disclosures. He's wanting everything in the disclosures. It seems like he wants full details.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably a good thing too. That way he has everything the way it should be, which is the way it should have been, in my opinion, with Judge Judge. And the guy was so relaxed. Like I said, I call him the Tommy Chong of judges. He just kind of was, hey, you know, give me what you can. I'll take it how I will, blah, blah, blah. This guy is on point, to the point, and makes things right. You know, I hate to say it like that, but I mean, he's not letting anybody slip through the cracks on either side. So, and he's also helping them in some ways. Terry's saying it there, how he helps and points out attorneys in the right direction and lets everything know. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
I
a
mean,
time saver too. It's a time saver for him and everybody involved.
I got to agree. Yes, sir. Good point. Very good point. Yeah, right. Like Sherry said, he's telling them to clean everything up, get your case cleaned up, and be ready for the trial. Because he doesn't want to piss around with the trial either. He doesn't want to go through all these hiccups and you know, speed bumps that they're dealing with throughout this. They want everything on, and Anne really needs to make sure she does that because she's been unprepared a few times. So I agree. I definitely agree.
Because yeah, we don't want a 6-month trial. We want 3 or 4 months.
And we want to do it one time. They only need to do this one time. They don't want to do it more than once. The families deserve for them to only have to do it once and be done with it and get out of there. You know what I mean? So yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. And they should know better. They're professionals. You know, there should be no hiccups, no speed bumps, no bullshit. I need 10 minutes for this or 15 minutes for that. You should be prepared when you come in them doors to do
We
what you're
could do
doing.
that by having more people on their team and have all that organized in the background with other people.
Agreed. Yes, sir. I do agree.
Okay. Thank you. And that goes to both sides. I haven't read your disclosures yet, so I don't know, you know, where that stands, but certainly goes to both sides. And I know that also, you know, the rules are different as to what the defense has to disclose necessarily and what the state does to some degree. And so I appreciate that.
Well, I think the court will anticipate that there's a rather large filing that contain a lot of actual reports. Your Honor, listening to the court's comments and understanding where we were a moment ago when we spoke, I feel like I must go through what their disclosures were because there are so many lists. My hope was that they would be limited because they didn't fulfill their disclosure requirement, and we
See
did
that
end up
limited word? She'll never get that limited.
knowing what their experts would
Well,
say.
and if they supplement, you certainly can supplement based upon what they supplemented.
Right, exactly.
That's kind of the nature of the beast.
I do appreciate that. And should that become necessary, we'll definitely take you up on that, Your Honor. I want to make a record about some of their expert disclosures, though. All of the lab people, they have lab reports and notes. The Idaho State Police Forensics Lab, I better be really clear on that. other than the wiggle room language, which would ask that they not be permitted to have any wiggle room language. The lab reports are fine, with the exception of one of the witnesses, Ms. Nowlin, that they've disclosed, and she's written no reports.
Is that the one they said is a rebuttal witness?
They said she might be a rebuttal witness, so I suppose now they know what our witness is going to say. I want to talk about the CAS report. The court's heard a lot about the
They
CAS.
have to know what a witness is going to say so they can fight rebuttal it.
It's really a PowerPoint presentation. There's
Say that one again, boss.
She said that they would want to know what a witness is going to say from the state. They got to know, the state would know what a witness is going to say, because if they don't, they wouldn't be able to rebuttal it right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. 100%. Archer's saying that Ellie has trampled every citizen in this country with the corruption in this case. That's what we should all be pissed about. If he's guilty, prove it the right way. That's all. And that's pretty much what I'm worried about. As just prove innocence or guilt, period. Whatever it is, prove it, show it, do it the right way, follow the law, end the story. That's all it's about. So, I hope that there doesn't have to be more than one trial. I don't.
It's why we have a trial. Both sides get their say.
Yep.
not any analysis in that. There's just, this will be my testimony. This is what it's going to be. Without much more, it's a picture, and it has some dots and some arrows. Your Honor, that needs to be cleaned up. We need to understand the analysis that went into coming up with those PowerPoint presentations. That's just not plain good enough. I would let the court know that the cell phone experts, there's wiggle language in both of those if the court hasn't seen that. Their disclosure number, that's Mr. Cox. That's a person that has not written a report at all. We have no idea, besides the state's disclosure, what that person's going to talk about. Agent Douglas that I talked about before, I don't think I need to make further record. There's a lot of documents, no analysis, no opinion stated. We put several of these in our pleadings, and so I won't go through all of them. I'm highlighting the ones that we're really concerned about. We have 3 that looked at digital data. The court should understand there's 60 some devices. There's digital data from third-party sources, and there are 3 people that are listed with just lists of things. It's Maori, Tanzania.
Well, I heard 68, not 60.
Devices or social media accounts that they're going to talk about. That our expert told us would take 3 years to look at every bit of the data. So having no clue what's going to happen, I can envision exactly what the court's fear is when we get to jury trial, me wondering if this particular thing was ever disclosed. So I definitely needed to make a record of that. Further, with the lab personnel, there's a caveat that says they'll talk about other people's reports and other things that are outside of their report, in addition to some of the other wiggle language that I referred to. Your Honor, given that the state is now cautioned to think about those things and submit more, I feel like it's important for us to bring out that we have a right to confront the evidence that's brought against us. Bryan has constitutional rights, United States and state of Idaho constitutional rights for a fair trial and to confront evidence. The expert disclosures are designed to advise us of what the state is going to do. Their disclosures were insufficient. I appreciate what the court said, but exactly what the court's worried about will happen if we don't have better disclosures. The jury will be in and out while we make sure that we have a clean record. We appreciate what the court said today, and we'd ask the court to order the state to comply or for the court to exclude anything that hasn't been disclosed so far. That's it.
So I'm going to give like both sides an example of what I expect. So you understand, there's been talk in this case about DNA. If somebody's going to talk about DNA and your intent is they're going to let the jury understand what DNA is, and essentially going to do a mini course on DNA, I expect to see that in expert disclosures. Not that they're going to do a mini course on the DNA. I expect to see the mini course in the disclosures, if that makes sense, in terms of what their opinions are, what their information is that they are conveying that is expert in nature. And so it really does behoove both sides to spend the time to do that. And that's the last I'll say about that. It is probably the most critical thing that you have to do at this point prior to trial, is to ensure that you have not just disclosed, but potentially over-disclosed those opinions and what is required by the rule. All right, is there anything else with respect to those?
Your Honor, is the court giving the state a new date to fix their disclosures?
I'm not giving either side a new date. You understand, I think, what I expect. So you can choose to try to supplement those. If they are simply expansions of what it is that they've disclosed that are just being more fulsome, I'm probably not going to have a problem with that, given where we're at in events of trial. And the defense certainly can look at those and decide that they want to expand or change or whatever their opinions are based on that. If it's whole new stuff, then you're going to have to demonstrate to me, new opinions, new lines, or even new experts. You're going to have to demonstrate why you didn't get that in the timeline.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else that we need to take up today?
Nothing from the defense.
I don't know whether we're going to have a Frank's hearing or not. I need to go and do that. But if you don't mind emailing some dates that you have available in the next, say, 3 weeks to do that in the event that we need to do it, I would appreciate that. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's work, not just for the hearings this week, but in this case in general. And I know how busy you all are, and I hopefully have not taken more of your time than is necessary. Travel safe. Thank you.
All right, please.
Well then, so welcome, Holly. Critical said they have to IgG test that handprint on the railing now, and the glove found outside, or reasonable doubt will linger over this trial the whole time since DM didn't see anything now. Right. I don't know, guys. That's it. It's done for today there. Any thoughts, feelings? Yeah, he did. That's absolutely what he did, was put his foot down and said, we're not going to be pissing around here. You know what I mean?
No more slacking.
Get your shit together and come prepared or don't come. That's in a sense basically what this man just said. Was that the black left by the recyclable bins in the front of 1122? I know what you mean, Cap.
He's saying the unknown DNA that was found outside on the glove. They didn't say exactly where it was located. It was near the trash bins, but they didn't say exactly where.
There was one that was found or whatever that was put there or found or whatever that Chris McDonough had something to do with, per se. They said way long time ago, but there was another one from my understanding as well. And I'm not 100% sure about that one. Miss Sherry saying that the handprint belonged to one of the kids from that morning. Okay, I know what you're saying now, Cap. Gotcha, brother. Tomboy, hey, Tomboy.
I was in
no,
town. I missed the front of this. Is there anything that's bullet point worthy?
No, it was all just returns talking about the warrants like for AT&T, Amazon. It was really boring shit. So I actually talked
suppression motions. Really, it was about the 15 suppression motions.
Yeah, how they're trying to get all that stuff suppressed, and it's not happening. So thank you, Tomboy. Said it was by the front door. Okay.
The odds of getting most of that or not suppression is slim to none because by law.
Well, Terry, he hasn't said she hasn't ruled on that yet. We don't know for a fact yet that there's not going to be, but I have a feeling that there won't be a Frank's hearing. I feel
the way that judge is talking about the Franks, it don't look like he's going to lean towards a Frank's hearing.
Right. Because I know that I get a strong feeling, one, that he didn't even want this case, but he has it, and two, that he wants to get through it without the bullshit. He wants to hurry up and get it done without having to, you know what I mean, and do it the right way. So,
do you see him passing it off? Would you ever think he would pass this case off to another judge?
No,
no, he can't, unless it's on some kind of grounds.
This guy is not the type of a judge that would pass this off. He'll do it what he's got to do and make it happen, but he's not going to have any bullshit go on during it either. So,
yep, no BS on either side.
Yeah, exactly. That is 100% the fact.
So pretty much the whole hearing was Ann Taylor pissing and moaning and whining about not having evidence that clearly should be in trial, not there.
No. It was you really don't like her, do you? At all?
I can't stand her personally.
Jeez. What the hell was I gonna say?
They're wanting warrants for stuff that they said they should have been warrants for, mainly
Yeah.
in the motions that they're trying to suppress, and they're arguing that there was like 3 things in there that didn't need warrants, and they thought they should have had warrants.
Basically, yeah. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Thank you. I was in town, so I missed the majority of it.
Oh, it's okay. No worries. What? That's why I quit coming in here, because of self-righteous mods. Bye-bye. Who? And what the hell are you talking about? Good God.
Sounds like a troll.
What? Wait, I don't fucking care anymore. I'm so tired of people and everybody. I no matter how nice you are to somebody, no matter how accommodating you can be to people, you can't please everybody, guys. So I'm sorry. The mods aren't self-righteous. They do what they're supposed to do. And I look at the conversation in here. Nobody was being rude or nothing. She made a statement, and this person didn't like that statement. That's not the way that's supposed to be. So anyway, has nothing to do with the moderators. In fact, that actually gives me an idea as to who that person was. So that's okay. On we go. All right. I'm sick of rude people.
And
Hey,
he
Molly.
said he'll make a decision with it. It sounded like within 3 weeks on all those motions and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a whole slew of hearings coming up soon too. With all that behind or coming from that. You're always good, Doodle. Don't worry about it, dear. Even though, but it's still, even if it's just an assumption, it's a decent assumption. There was a whole bunch of kids there that morning that shouldn't have been there. So that's where that statement comes from. You know, you're allowed to make those speculative assumptions. We all do with everything. So it doesn't mean to upset anybody or anything like that. It's not supposed to. So be it. So be it. And it all comes down to, once again, everybody, we need to remember this. All of this will come out in trial, of course. Well, not all of it, but the important stuff. And Bryan Kohberger is innocent till proven guilty, regardless of what everybody thinks. I don't think he's innocent. I don't think he's guilty. I think he's innocent till proven guilty.
That's why we have a jury decide someone's fate.
Trial and a jury. That's right. I'm not attacking him. No, I won't do that, guys. I just won't until they give me proof. Okay. And that comes from the trial. That's what it's for. That's all.
I want to see it all that's going to have it in the trial. I want to see everything they have.
Right. And if Bryan comes out to be guilty, then good, because that's where he should be the one, because they've had him, and that proves that the judicial system and that law enforcement was working the right way with this case. And that's what's important here. That's all it is, folks. There's nothing else with it. You know, the conspiracy bullshit, people being upset because they feel one way about this case and other people feel another way. Why?
You
don't matter. You don't matter.
Right. Yeah, to their opinion.
Right. Everybody. And that's the important thing. That's what this channel was based on and built on. Mama Bear, Mind of Monsters. Even you, Donald, you've been here long enough. You know that this channel is based on people having the ability to have their opinions, their feelings, and express them without somebody throwing an axe at their head. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Just saying. So anybody that gets upset over that, come on. We're grown adults, and most of us are over 30, for Christ's sakes, at least.
What are you upset about?
So
What are you
let's be adults.
I'll be 50 in November of this year.
we're all pretty much in the same age group. Let's act that way. You know what I'm saying? To get upset with somebody because they feel differently about something you feel. Why?
It's called respect.
We ain't gonna change nothing, and we don't matter. Nobody in here matters with this case whatsoever. We just want to know the answers. We just want to see the truth, and we just want to see justice for the victims and their family.
Yep. We just want
That's it.
justice done.
Right there. I got you, Pappy. I wish I could be that way too. I feel that way, but hey, it is what it is. But most everybody in here, guys, is that way. Everybody in here. That's why this community is so awesome, because it's come together with the people that are that way. We get somebody occasionally that doesn't want to be that way, that doesn't feel that way, that doesn't agree to be that way. Okay, this isn't the place for you. That's all there is to it. So, let me see here. Simply saying that DM stayed up, then downstairs. The handrail blood DNA is male, but not BK and not Ethan. It could have been anybody from that morning.
And you don't know how long that was on the railing either. It could have been there a while. Could have been wet, dry. They didn't say if it was wet DNA, or dry DNA. That could be
Very
from a party, one of the parties or something. Somebody was in that house.
It could have been from a day before that. The 100 people that were there the day before for the party.
Yeah.
Somebody could have cut their finger. Somebody could have done, you know what I'm saying? Anything could have, we don't know what it is. That's the problem. So to judge it and say that what somebody thinks it could be as compared to what somebody else thinks it could be is wrong is not the way to do it, folks. Just people are allowed to make their assumptions, their feelings on things. That's what it's all about. You shouldn't attack them for it.
And you got to remember, no perfect crime exists. No perfect crime exists.
Right. And that's all Sherry was doing, like she just said, logically and investigatively. Logically, there was 35 kids that came there that morning before law enforcement even got there. How many people now? And let's be honest here, guys. Let's talk about something for a quick second with this whole
It's a
thing.
college house.
Right. But we know that Dylan contacted friends before police. Okay. There was 8 hours between the time that this went down to the time that law enforcement showed up.
From 4 a.m. till like noon.
Roughly. Okay. And she contacted some people to come over there to help out, whatever, Hunter, whoever was contacted. We'll just put it that way. Other people showed up there. Don't believe that they didn't. Many other people showed up there. They were all college kids. Okay. You're going to tell me, and if you tell me that you'd believe that nobody else besides Hunter went inside that house, I'm going to call you a liar. The people that showed up were all friends to the victims. They all wanted to know what's going on with these kids. They all wanted to know, where are they? Why aren't they out here with Dylan and Bethany or whatever? So tell me that they didn't go inside that house.
Logical says they went inside that house.
Thank you. I would have went inside the house. If my friend was in that house and I thought something could have happened to them, you don't think I went in that house?
It wouldn't make you a good friend.
All the way upstairs I'd have went and back down. I'm a male. Males are pig-headed. I'll handle this.
Yeah,
I'll
want to know what's going on. We're typical males going to want to know what's up.
Right. On top of what Critical's saying. Hunter and or Ethan's, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ethan's the twins, triplets, the rest of his siblings, basically. I promise you, at least one of them went in there. Their brother's in there. Okay. Come on. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Thank you. So don't tell me that none of those other kids that showed up, and I'm going to give a number. I'll say 20 to 25 other kids showed up at that house that morning before police did. You're going to tell me that none of them went inside there to look at what could have happened or what happened, what happened on top of Hunter going in and checking Ethan's pulse. And I still don't believe that nobody else went all the way upstairs, because the way it was read to us, the way it made it sound to us is that he went in and he stopped there at Ethan and Xana and came back out. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Do you think a male went up the stairs, or do you think females went up the third floor?
I think Hunter went upstairs.
Oh, okay.
So that handprint could be Hunter's, especially if he checked Ethan's pulse.
Yep.
Think about it. Okay?
Touched his body.
Think about that. Yes, and he could have been in a hurry to try to get up the stairs real quick, grab the railing to give him, because kids, at least I did, would take 4 stairs at a time instead of one by one, to hurry up and jump up there, grab the hand railing to get
Especially if
balanced
he's
and
got his
jump up the stairs.
especially if he's got his adrenaline going too.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And that's my point. So that handprint could be his. Okay. So there's people that came at me before and were like, nobody was in that house, Dago. I don't believe that anybody went in before the bullshit. You got a whole, you're on a college campus at the party house of the campus. Okay. Everybody parties here. There was 100 kids, and there's proof 100 kids that were there the night before, and they're always there. Okay. Hold on, Tomboy. So I got to guarantee that there was other kids, male kids. I promise you, if anybody went in the house, it was they were males. There could have been females that went in there too, but mostly the males would be the ones to go in there. Males come off as protectors, and I'll handle this, or I'll secure the state. You know what I mean? That type of a mentality. So they're the ones that specifically, I'm sure, went in, including Hunter, of course, and checked the whole scene out. And then then they decided that they needed to call police, probably. That's why I think that scene is completely and totally trashed. So that's my opinion, folks. And again, nobody has to take that, believe that, feel the same way I do, but respect it, because I respect yours.
They always say location of something in a home or victims is the key too.
And that's another good point, True Seeker. Maybe because I've been bugged by that whole dog thing since we heard that now, that the dog was there with an open door. And Kimber has made statements saying that she can see it. SRB can see it. They have dogs that would be maybe unnerved because of the noise and the chaos. I agree. That makes sense. But for an 8-hour period, the dog just sat in that room and didn't come out at all is bugging me. So I got to wonder, now that I think about it, if somebody checked in that room and left the door open that Murphy was in, and that's why he never came out of that room. Okay. And he's probably unnerved. So there's some other little things here that aren't out there that we don't know, that we may find out at trial, that would make the puzzle come together better, in my opinion.
Because a normal dog with a door open is going to come out and wonder.
Yeah.
Most dogs come out.
Definitely. I still don't understand why the recycle bins, ladder, and backyard couch wasn't taken into evidence. That's a good point, Cap. Especially that couch. That seemed like, or the ladder, because that could have been an entrance or exit point with this. It could have been an pertinent piece of information. I don't know. There's a couple things that probably should have been taken that weren't. So. And that's the other thing too, Sarah. It could have been, SRB and Kimber were, when I talked to them and through Discord, I think about everything you guys say to me, and I process. They're probably right. The poor dog was probably sitting there waiting for Kaylee to come to him. He's probably trained to an extent and was being a good boy and sitting there waiting because she, and he was scared a little maybe. And he just was sitting there and she wasn't coming. That's very sad to me.
And another thing that recently has been going both ways too, I've heard both ways, was the doors open to the bedrooms or closed to where the victims were?
The understanding the understanding is that Xana's bedroom door was closed and they were inside. But I don't know about Kaylee and Maddie's door in there. I got my own theory about how that went down, but Ann says that the doors were all open. I missed that. So thank you, LR.
Yeah, because I heard that recently too. They were all open.
I think the door was opened. That's why I think somebody was in there and went in, because I think the doors initially were closed, because that's why Hunter got called, remember? Because she couldn't get in that door and they had to call Hunter too. And that was
Ethan's body was blocking one of the doors too. They had wanted it open and see what was going on.
Yes, that's the thing. So they had to, that's why I think the doors were all open, because there was people in there looking at stuff, looking to see what happened. And I don't care what they tell me. I'm going to believe that until I don't believe that. So
yeah, it's making more sense that way. Like you're thinking, Dead Lego.
Right. Tomboy says it wasn't Ethan's blood though. Okay. Well, Why did they just say that it wasn't one of the victims' blood?
They said it wasn't anybody that it wasn't Ethan's or BK's. Is what I
Oh,
understood.
okay.
What I heard recently.
I really would like to know who that blood belonged to then. If Murphy was there, we can rule out KG calling Jack D so many times. What? That's not why she was calling him, Terry. I know that already. It wasn't to bring Murphy back. He was there. We knew that.
I think she was calling him that many times because she was wanting to probably try to get back with him or something.
That or there was something else I heard. Are you still here, Mom?
Yep.
Okay. There was something else I heard that about the reason why he was being called, and it had something to do with what the hell was that? That there was either somebody was seen in the parking lot or there was a threat made or something. Now that, folks, please don't take that as real information. I was told that by another situation, in another situation. I don't know if that's real or not. That's
like
why.
a naked person? They seen a naked person or something outside? I thought that's
No. That's been debunked. I don't believe. I never believed that, but that's been debunked.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of shit that happened that should have never been talked about, put out there, that people took as factual information, and it was all absolute bullshit.
Yeah, this case will be studied for 50 to 100 years.
Yeah, for sure. Whoever left the blood had to have an open wound to leave their blood because it was not BK. Right. So it makes you wonder, was it somebody that had a cut on their hand that could have been a defensive wound?
And you got to remember, too, was it dry or was it wet at the time when they seen it?
Well, that's the thing. But if it was 8 hours later and they finally saw it, it had to have been dried at that point. You know what I mean? 8+ hours, I should say.
It's harder to get it. Wouldn't it be harder if it's dry, though, to get a result off of it, though?
Say that one more time. It sounded muffled.
Wet blood is more easier to test, right, than dry blood, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and there's that too. There's that too. There's another situation, and I don't know where that came from for sure, Ro. I've been trying to find the truth behind that for months. About 2 people going to the hospital that morning.
That might be because of shock. They were in shock.
Well, there's one story about that said that these people went to the hospital. They were all cut up. I don't know if that's true, and I don't believe that's true until you show me facts. Okay. I don't know. That's something I've been trying to find behind for a while.
Yeah, the theories of this case are just keep going wilder and wilder.
Yeah, and as far as dry blood goes, they just rehydrate it like Tomboy. That's true. They'll get it wet again, put it in a slide, and that's how they take it and test it. So don't forget, JD's DNA was found in the house, and Kaylee was only there since Friday. Yeah, but his DNA should be all over that house anyway, Critical, if they were together at some point.
Yeah, his DNA would have been some of
all
it,
over
not
that.
all of it. Yeah, all
I
over.
would think it'd be everywhere in that house because they were a couple for a while.
Yep. And skin cells you can't even see are all around too. They say you drop skin cells every day wherever you go.
Right. What did you say here, Phil? A dog or pet will know something's wrong. Dogs can smell death. That dog likely knew nothing good lied beyond that hallway and was likely afraid to venture very far. And that's what Kimber and SRB were saying earlier, Phil, and made me think about that. So, yeah, I have to agree with that. And they know their owners. See, that's something I didn't think about. Kimber and Tomboy brought that to my attention, too. We were talking in Discord.
Yeah, probably they know something wasn't right. Yep.
They know, yeah, they know their owners and they can smell things. So if you smell blood, let's say that, and you can smell your owner, your master, whatever they call them, you're gonna know there's something wrong with her, and it could have scared the dog. He was still kind of a puppy too, I think. So there is that possibility too as to why he wouldn't venture out past that doorway. That's his safe spot. That's her room. That's where he always stayed. You know what I mean? So that does make some sense to me. Definitely makes some sense to me. And I appreciate Kimber and SRB putting that in my head for me to actually have to think about. Because earlier I was thinking, like, why the hell didn't this dog traipse all over that house? And why were there no little bloody doggy footprints all over the house, too? That made no sense to me. If that door was open at all.
Yeah, like some dogs just don't like the smell of blood too.
Yeah, that's true, too. That's true. That broke up in early October. Kaylee moved out. So why would because well, think about it, critical. If he was in that house and they were together for a period of time, I can promise you he was in and out of that house multiple times with her. The DNA just doesn't go away. Once you touch something, it's there. If you've brushed against something, we know how touch DNA works now.
You would have
Anything.
to do a lot of vacuuming, and you would have to do a lot of cleaning up in a month's time to get rid of all DNA.
Right. This happened in November. It was just barely a month past it. So I'm just saying, I would imagine his DNA should be somewhere throughout that house. That's all. Only downfall, sorry, Mama Bear. With all that is he was still a puppy and he was known to run. Yeah, but if he was scared, think about that, Tomboy. I can't imagine him running away if he was scared. Hold on. Yes.
Ew, no.
You look adorable. What do you mean? Ooh, no. She's ashamed to be in the pic. Anyway, she got new glasses and I think she's cute. Let's see. See, my issue with the dog that I thought is because I've watched my dogs over years, and that's where my theories came from. And I never thought of it in the other ways that SRB and Kimber had brought to my attention. So animals are different in different scenarios, I guess. I just never thought of it that way. Like if she's sick or not feeling good, they're always with her, but they're like, and even Oscar, when he was still alive, he was shoved right in her booty. He would not leave her alone. And he wouldn't let anybody, they don't really let anybody come near her when she's not feeling good. They're very protective and they're always by her. If she disappears, they go and find her. When she's not here, they sit and wait on the couch staring at the front door until she walks in that door. So that was kind of my thought. And they're her dogs. Okay. I take care of them. They live in my house. They're her dogs, guys. That's just all there is to it. So, she's still cute to me, Tomboy. And yes, she's gorgeous too, but I still think she's cute with her new glasses. Kind of gives me I'm not gonna go there. I just with the new style glasses, it gives me that librarian look, so I'm just gonna leave that alone.
There's a doggy behind you right now.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you just staring at me and being all creepy in the dark? Look at him, he's just staring. What are you doing?
I seen his tail coming up.
Come here. He's just standing there staring at me like I'm doing something. You're creeping me out, weirdo. Are you being good? Your tail's wagging
He
a
heard
little
you.
bit.
He heard you talking about him.
Can you hear somebody saying, "Oh, now you're gonna lay down and stare at me"? What are you doing, Alfred? Oh, he's so weird. Anyway, yeah, every dog is different. That's very true. That's what I had to start thinking about for sure. And that's where I came to too, Kimber. After hearing what you guys said, and then I thought about it. Absolutely. Don't be going there, Sherry, that he sees the ghost. Are you still what are you doing? Yeah, and they both do that. They both stop and stare at things. Everybody, I swear this house is haunted, guys. I was touched by something one night or one day during a live stream. I think some of you were
He
here.
left now. He left.
Are you gone now? That's because he heard her.
I told you it's Angie making sure you're keeping your shit straight.
She's probably what's messing around with my cucumber, my computer. Don't ask me where the cucumber came from. I have no idea. Yeah, Molly did catch that on camera. That's right. I don't believe in ghosts in that aspect, guys. I've done ghost hunting, all that kind of stuff. But I'm one of those people where I have to see something to be proven. And I swear to God, for those of you that weren't in here, Molly caught it on it. She clipped it. Somebody else did too, but Molly has it on video and everything. I was doing a live stream in broad daylight, and my granddaughter was here, but she was clear over in the other living room. Okay. And something touched me here on my arm, just like this. And it felt like a little hand twice. And I turned and looked. There's nothing there, but people saw things moving, weird things be around me. So that's when I finally said, okay, there's something in this house that ain't supposed to be here, but
Likely angels or something.
I'll take it. Yeah, that works for me. I'm good with that. So, I'll tell you what I will do real quick here. As I said, I would. What is it? 6 o'clock. We got a little bit of time still. I'm going to go ahead and post because I said I would do it. I'm going to post the link, open the panel for anybody that wants to come up and discuss this, the Idaho situation, what we've seen. And I will pin it in the chat. The only thing I ask is that when you come backstage, you show your face and not your waist. And show your face for a matter of seconds if you're not regular up here. And you can shut it down and I'll bring you up. So with everything that we've seen and heard recently, Mom and Mama Bear, we'll go with Mom first. I know your thoughts on this, but you feel anything different or anything new or anything about what we've seen and heard over the past few days?
Not really. I mean, that's kind of interesting. The up and down the stairs is kind of interesting. Finding about the handprint on the stairwell was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
glove thing, I don't know. Like you said, with Chris McJokel being anywhere near the crime scene, I'd like to know when that was found as opposed to when he was there.
Chris McDing Dong,
But
yeah.
I stand with the victims. I won't never change that.
Well, no,
Innocent
of
until proven guilty, absolutely. But I still stand with the victims, and I just want to see the trial. I'd like to see it all come out in trial. I'd like to see Ann Taylor prove herself as a defense attorney instead of a whiny ass.
This is what I love. I love it when she gets going on Ann. As much as I love Ann, I still love to hear it. It's okay. I love Mom more than Ann, so that's what matters. So I respect it. And she is, guys, here's the thing with Ann Taylor, okay? And I noticed this from the beginning of the hearings and when all this went down.
She's probably doing the best she can with what she's got.
I'll say that, Dawn, but here's this too. I said this earlier. Oh, there's Kimber. Hey. Ann was kind of spoon-fed from the beginning, okay? And this is fact, folks. Go back and watch the original hearings on this. Judge, like I said, Tommy Tong, in my opinion, Mr. Laidback, whatever. Anything Ann came to the table with, anything Ann needed, anything Ann wanted, Ann was given, okay? And she could whine a little bit, do this, do that, blink her eyes. I don't know what she did, but anyway, he gave it to her. That has not happened since Hitler took over, and I respect that, okay? I definitely respect that because that shouldn't be that way with either side. The prosecution shouldn't be handed everything on a silver platter, and neither should she. They do their work like they're supposed to and prove that they're good attorneys and do their jobs. That's it. Nobody should be handed anything. Nobody should be favored. And I kind of feel, and people may disagree, and I respect that, guys. I do. But I do believe that Judge kind of favored her a little bit. And I think she's used to that and is not used. You guys have seen her reaction, the faces And how she speaks when Hitler says basically, no, you're not getting this, you're not getting that. I don't, and disagrees with her. Judge never did that. So I think that's part of her problem. She's not used to it. So it is what it is. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful because that's not a fair trial as far as I'm concerned. A judge basically giving you everything you need to do your job, and then whatever happens at that point. No, that's not fair. He needs to be split right down the middle, which I do believe he is, between prosecution and defense. He needs not to favor either side, and he needs not to hand over whatever everyone wants. They need to work and do their jobs, which is why they have the job they have. So that's just my opinion. Anyway, welcome, Kimber.
Thank you. Yes, I think when you said Judge kinda gave her way, she pretty much had her way with Judge.
Truly, she did. She did.
She whined her way through it, and now this judge is being equal and fair on both sides, and she doesn't like it.
Right.
I bet
She's
you they
going to
regret. I
implode.
bet you they regret change her venue now.
I'm sure she does. But it's not fair to him. Her words were, it's not fair to Bryan to be here. It ain't about her. It's about him. So be it. Like I said, this judge is doing what he's supposed to be doing, in my opinion, of course. And I hope he continues to do that.
I like this judge.
And
I do too.
I like this.
He seems more qualified to handle a case like this too.
Oh
I agree.
my God. Yeah. Can you imagine if this case would have went full bore all the way to trial with Tommy Chong? Come on.
Well, it would have been a shit show. It would have been the
100%.
Ann Taylor show.
That's kind of how I feel. Like it would. I could just imagine like the prosecution putting something forth and him leaning over going, "Is that okay with you, defense?"
Exactly.
Ann, are you
Wisdom.
okay with this? Are you okay with this? Do you need a blankie in a corner to snuggle in?
Right.
Do I
That's
need
how
to
he
hold
was
your
doing it.
hand?
This judge is following the letter of the law, Wisdom. You are exactly correct.
Mm-hmm.
Just like he told him, get your shit together before trial. Get your shit together, people, or don't show up.
Yeah,
Show
or
up
he's not
prepared
going
or
to
don't
allow
show
it.
up.
I'm glad
Or
he
he's
said
not
that
gonna allow
too.
I do
I
too,
am
because let
definitely-
me tell you what irritates me more than anything in the world. A defense attorney that doesn't have their shit together, and we spend half of the trial with, hang on, everybody take a break. We're going to send the jury out. Please hold. Do.
Yeah,
While
then we're
they
gonna
get
be
their
there.
shit
Then
together.
you're going to be there 6 months. You're going to be there 6 months too, doing that.
And that's what he's totally trying to avoid, because you heard the judge. I don't want to have to keep sending the jury out.
And not
Exactly.
even
I
that.
didn't see the jury
Yesterday,
go out 500 times.
not even that. She proved something yesterday that I was kind of disgruntled about personally when she said, "Well, Judge, I thought we were here for this, and they were actually there for that." And he just kind of looked at her and she goes, "Well, if you can give me 5 minutes."
Already at the first start, right at the start, already a bad move.
That right there was a red flag right out of the gate. And I went, no. That ain't how that's supposed to work. Sorry. And that's why I think he made that statement at the end. Get your shit together. Come prepared. Make sure that you have everything the way you need to be. And he was speaking to both sides, but I think he was speaking to her. And that's that. You know what I mean?
She's
like I
probably
said,
you think she's got too much on her plate, Diego? You think she's overworked or something on other cases in this case too?
say I didn't hear you quite clearly, Don. Say it again.
I was saying, do you think she's got all overwhelmed with how many cases she's probably doing, just not the Idaho 4? Do you think Idaho's the only one she's got? She might be overworking herself.
I mean, that's possible too, but I think that everything else has been delegated for other people. Up with the other cases, I mean, I think she's able to spend as much time on this as she needs to, truly.
She has a whole team. I'm sorry. Her shit excuses are not going to work with me. She has a whole team. There are 4 families waiting for justice. And this isn't on Ann Taylor's calendar. This
Honestly,
isn't her.
J-Log,
Hold her hand and show her how to be a defense attorney. No, get your shit together. You have a whole team. You've been given more than enough time. Why are we now in these hearings? And she still doesn't have her shit together. And she's still whining about, well, this and this and this and this. And it's just, it's not fair. Stomp my feet and clap my hands.
Mom, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah,
Right.
we know.
You know, he told both of them today that, and he wasn't just talking to Ann Taylor. He was telling both of them to get their shit together. He wasn't just telling the defense, he was telling the prosecution as well, get your shit together before court,
Yep, because he doesn't want
before
to
the
see this
trial.
stuff
He
at
told both of
trial.
them, get your shit together.
He don't want to deal with any of this at trial.
He told the prosecution when Jennings was standing up there, as well as he did Ann Taylor. He told Jennings that when she was standing up there as well. He ripped Jennings a new asshole today. So about her disclosures and this and that. So, I mean, it's on both sides. It's not just Ann.
Yeah, it seems like they're playing a
And
little bit
there's
of
4
game.
families. There's
Four
4 families
families
that are
are-
going to have to travel. They're going to have to travel for this. Let's get justice there. Have the fucking trial. Get it over with.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter.
If it was up to Ann Taylor, this trial wouldn't happen for 2 more years. I mean, that's the realistic matter of it.
If at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter if Ann Taylor's inconvenienced or the prosecution's inconvenienced or Bryan Kohberger's inconvenienced. There's 4. These families need justice. These families need justice. So, and I realize it's a death penalty case. I get that. But these families need justice for their loved ones as well. These victims need justice.
And they will hopefully get it, but it is a death penalty case, which takes longer than typical cases do. That's
well, and I understand that. That's not what I'm saying, but you know, it's oh.
Welcome, Mark and Betty. Oh no, I know you're not saying that. I'm saying that's what I was saying. Good to see you, Mark and Betty. Thank you for being here. And I agree. He's not playing games. And like I said, Judge, I can't stand saying his name. The judge was just too relaxed and too easygoing and was not putting his foot down and not demanding certain things be done a certain type of way like he should have been. That's my opinion. So, and that was true too. That was another issue that there was about the witnesses. Tomboy's right. I remember that part too, about the expert witnesses and the lack of information. Very true. That's a good point, Tomboy. Thank you for reminding me of that as well. Let me see.
Plus, it seemed like some of these people weren't actually doing their work fully, and they were leaving out a lot of don't know and didn't have all the info.
Those 2 specifically. The testimony from Payne, in my opinion, was kind of a joke. He had more time to be organized. He should have had more information. The last time that they deposed him on the stand, I didn't like it. And the guy, what the hell's his name? I always forget his name. What's the guy's name that deposed? He was from the FBI.
Critical, regardless of whether Bryan Kohberger's guilty or not, these families deserve justice in one way or another, and the victims deserve justice. Is all I'm saying. And I can't be, I can't be easy on for the family thing. I can't, or the victims. I'm sorry, I can't.
Mallory.
Right. That's what they always say. Mallory, thank you. Whoever said that, thank you. Was it Mama Bear?
I think a lot of that is I don't recall or don't know or what's this or that. It's the time that's expanded from when it happened till now. They're losing the recall and the memory of the case.
Right. And like I said, Payne should have had all of his stuff together. He was given multiple, I'm sure, reminders that he was going to be there the days that he was going to be there. Bring the information, gather what you need.
Yeah, bring notes, all your work and everything that you did.
be the detective that you are and prove and show what you're, what you're gonna. They tell him what they're gonna talk to him about. They know ahead of time. So I don't know is not a good answer when you're sitting there talking about something like this. I'm sorry, it's just not. I don't accept that. And Maori was the same way. So whatever that means, whether it's just because they're disorganized or because, again, and I'm not defending Brett Pan because I know people will go for my throat when I do that, but I'm just saying he's young in the police force, guys. 7 years, and he just became a detective, and this is his first case, and it's a quadruple homicide. Think about that a little bit too. So you got to give him just a little bit of grace as far as experience goes, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. So just saying.
He'll learn from this case for sure.
But just get your shit together, bro. And that's kind of important. That's probably a lot of what the judge was talking about too, with the witnesses and so on and so forth, and what is accepted and not accepted as far as evidential statements and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
he's letting them know he's not going to play around. Have your shit together. This is what I'll accept. He's letting them know off the get go. So when they get to trial, they won't be. They can't be shocked if he goes, "I'm not going to accept this." They can't be shocked because he's let them know at the forefront. Get your shit together. This is what I'll accept. This is what I won't accept. This is not. He's let them know this is my courtroom. You're not going to run it. Basically. He's let them know I'm the sheriff. You're not.
And that's the kind of judge you need in a case like this.
Yep. It sure is.
yeah, this is an important case, a very, very, very high profile case, and it only needs to be done once. The families don't need to go through all this shit more than one time. It's bad enough, okay? That's all I'm saying. And just get it right the first time. Let's move on. Period. There is obviously going to be appeal. I truly feel, in my opinion, again, nobody needs to agree or get upset with me. I think Brian's going to be convicted, regardless. I just feel at this point.
Yeah, they are a conviction.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be convicted. Truly. First off, the court of public opinion has him completely done and over with already. There's that. Hopefully, the jury, when they do pull jury, that they will be unbiased as best they possibly can. I'm so over the moon with people saying, well, they're not going to know about it. They're going to pick people that don't know about this case. Who the fuck don't know about this case? Come on. You know what I mean? There's very few people.
The odds you get a jury that doesn't know, at least half those jury members are going to know something.
Now, there are people that can be fair and be non-biased. That's fine. And we'll look at everything. Hopefully that's how this all goes over. But this is going to go to appeal, period. There's no way. I just don't see anything other than that. He will be convicted and he will go to appeal. That's how I see this ending.
Yep.
And it's just one of them things, guys. The same thing went on with completely two different cases, obviously, and two different complete scenarios. But in my opinion, the same thing that went on in Delphi. He's going to be convicted, period. And it's going to be, that's it. It's going to be it's not going to be a hung jury, or they're not going to have to do it more months. I think it's going to be boom, 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 and it's over. And that's it. And then the appeal process starts. So, it's just, it's crazy. And that's how I see this ending. So I don't get that upset about it, you guys. I don't. It's not worth it because it doesn't affect us. We're here just spreading the word, pretty much. So congratulations, Molly. I know it's been longer than 20 months. Mama Bear's at 27 months, and you came right with Mama Bear.
Yeah, I was gonna say we came together. She's been here longer.
And Miss Sherry and Kim Marin and Tomboy, all of you guys were in the same time. So this is so screwy the way they do this. Either way, happy Daygoversary, and thank you for being part of the team, the community, and the family, Molly. We love you. Oh, that's 100% what it's going to be. That's the only thing they really have to use with it, so it will be that.
Yep, and the defense is going to have to fight that DNA the best they can because it's something that's not going away.
Yeah, that touch DNA is not going away no matter what you do to it. It's there.
Well,
and it's his.
I think Terry.
Yeah, and it's his DNA. It's his touch DNA. It's not somebody else's.
I think Terry that Bill's about to retire, so I think he's kind of letting them do the, the heavy work, and when he needs to, he steps in and says what he needs to say. That's truly why I think he's being so quiet. The state doesn't even want the IGG admitted. I know, and that's a thing. It's been talked about before. So and that's what we've talked about before, LR. If they do throw that out, what do they have? They have the pings, which we've now been told are not right.
That IGG is not getting thrown out, in my opinion. Nope.
I don't think it will either. I don't think it will, but neither side wants it admitted. That's the problem. But I don't think that he'll allow for it to be tossed because that's really truly all they have. The like I said, the phone pings we know now is a bunch of bullshit. And what the hell else did they have? They didn't have it.
They show there was the IGG wasn't done in proper way either. They got to show that it was done the legal way.
Right. I don't see the dope. Well, I said it was two different situations, Sherry. Richard Allen had a judge conviction. BK doesn't. What do you mean? I'm saying he will be convicted just like Richard Allen was convicted. I don't believe Richard Allen should have been convicted. Not with what they had. At least not by himself. Let me put it that way. With the evidence they had, I don't see how they convicted him. Is what I'm trying to say with Richard Allen. Bryan, I guess there's more evidence with Bryan's case, so I definitely feel that he will be convicted. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, if she would have allowed third-party defenses in that, I think things would have went different, but she absolutely did not. So, hey, Elbow Requa, good to see you. It's been a while. And yes, BK has a way better judge. God, Jesus, I can't imagine how this would be going if BK had a judge like Judge Gall. That would be interesting to say the least.
Do we know how many years this judge that they got in the Idaho 4 case right now, how many years he's been a judge?
Hippler? Is that what you're asking? How long he's been a judge?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, he seems seasoned. He really does. I'm going to venture to say it's been a while. Reverse IGG, in my opinion, not a popular one, I might add, but still my opinion. I understand. I respect it. Like I said, everybody's opinions are important to me, and they should be to everyone.
It's new technology. Things do advance, and people got to realize that's helped a lot of cases, a lot of code stuff.
Well, this IGG stuff is the wave of the future, folks. How many cases have we seen recently? Cold cases, for that matter. It's gonna push forward, and it's gonna solve so many cold cases. It really, I think it will, truly. I can agree with that. I can, if they do things right, critical, I think that will possibly either overturn or give him a trial or the appeal process, whatever, which way or another, it's going to work in his factor, I do believe. That's true too. There's a whole thing about that we looked over. Ray Knightley, good to see you. Yeah, he did say, I remember that. He didn't even want this case, you guys. That's the thing. That's why I feel like he's gonna hammer down on this and get through it and be done with it.
He's gonna play it by the book, by the law, and you get ready to buckle in.
Yeah. LR's saying, I feel the state has what they have, and per the motions and what Ann had asked for, I think the state has trash, and this guy never even should have been charged by a grand jury. I respect that. I question what the state has, okay? Only because they've only showed what they've showed. Now, I know they're not going to show all their cards. I still have questions about what they actually may have. That's just me. So.
Yeah, they're not giving your whole game plan out now. No way, not until trial.
Right. No, I understand. And see, this is the way it should be able to be, folks. Everybody, we're kind of split in the middle in here. There's some people that think one way and people that think the other. We should be able to discuss these things like this without flipping out on each other and be adults about it. And I respect that. Everybody's being respectful and polite, and that's the way it should be. Instead of attacking somebody because she has a feeling about something in particular. It's not anybody's right to do that. Hitler was an appellate judge until 2013, where he became a criminal court judge. Oh, well, then he knows what he's doing. He definitely knows what he's doing.
He's moved up the ladder the right way.
He'll be a senator next. Watch. Just say it.
Oh, he's gonna run after this case. He's gonna be huge.
Yeah, and I like I said, with the rest of this, I don't know. Obviously, we'll get the ruling on this via documents, and I'll hit the documents and cover those in here. And anything new that comes out of it, of course, I will bring out as well. I think a lot of people, guys, are tired of this case. They're over this case. They want the families
exhausted. They're frustrated and exhausted.
Right, and everybody, a lot of us, just want the families to be able to breathe and to grieve. I've said for a long time that I don't believe, especially Stephen Gonsalves, I don't think he's been able to grieve like you should be able to grieve at the loss of a child, because he's been so head first involved in this, trying to get the truth, the answers, do this and do that, so on and so forth. I don't think he's been able to grieve the right way. Okay. They need to have closure. This needs to be over so that they can grieve the loss of their child, their children, all of them, and be able to try to move forward in some place in their life to make a life without these kids. As sad and as hard as it is to say that, that's what needs to happen here. And it's just dragging. It's because, one, yes, it's a death penalty case. It does take longer. Sherry will tell you that. She worked in the court systems, and a lot of people know that. But there's been a lot of hiccups and speed bumps and dumb shit and bullshit and all this stuff that has happened throughout this as well. That needs to be done. And I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to, what the hell is that? I think he's trying to get past all the bullshit, get the thing to trial and be done with it. Truly, that's my opinion. But the cases you're referring to are identity clearing cases, not identity determining. Wherein lies the problem? Othram's contract with ISP says not for identifying. I understand, Phil. I understand. My only issue with this on this case is it wasn't about guilt or innocence, folks. Whether Bryan did it or didn't do it. It was about how. That's what my biggest thing with this whole thing was, how they got to Bryan. And it's always been that for me. I was very uncomfortable with that. Of course, I want to know if he did it or didn't do it. I just want the state to prove and show me that he did it legally. That's it. That's what my issue's always been here, is how they got to this situation. That's all. I've never claimed whether he's innocent or guilty. Never taken either side. A lot of people believe that I say he's innocent.
Show the process from first day to the last day.
And I'm hoping and praying that when we finally do get to the trial, that we see all of what we need to see. A lot of people have stated, I hope this never goes to trial, and I don't think it'll go. I hope it does. It needs to. It needs to go to trial so that the world can see everything. Steve Gonsalves even said that. Everybody needs to see it all, including him. He wants to see it all from both sides of the river, you know. I absolutely feel that LR, my personal feeling is if Ann didn't truly believe in his innocence, she wouldn't be fighting this hard. She gives him effective counsel, play it out. She's hardcore. And I think she does think he's innocent. I feel like she does. Not just because she's his attorney and she has to. Based on some things she said and some of her actions, I think she does believe he's innocent. That's just me, though. No, and that's true. We won't see any of what we really, really want to see until the trial comes. If we see it all then. We may not even see it all there. You just don't know.
Some of them might still get not shown.
I'm trying to keep up with all you guys over here as much as I can. So if I'm not hitting your comments or whatever, don't be angry with me. Just trying to get it all. In some senses, like I gotta agree with you, Cotney. I don't think that Ellie has given them the. I don't think LA law enforcement has done well with for the families, in my opinion. Let me put it that way. I think they could have done more for the families. They should have done more for the families, but they just didn't, in my opinion. Okay. And then there's Walt, always throwing out a random comment out of nowhere. Just dropped 40 large at Denny's. Not good. Where does this shit come from, Walt? I swear to God.
You're talking about dinner.
I wish I had a Denny's. I miss Denny's.
Yeah, the ones around here are closed.
Oh, no, that's true too, LR. The defense is trying to get everything unsealed. Judges currently but they see the thing with that, though, that bugs me a little bit, LR. The defense is partially who sealed most of everything. They wanted all this stuff sealed. Now they want it unsealed.
Yeah, they're trying to play flip-flop game.
Right, and they should have. That's something that bugged me. He did make a statement, though. I think it was yesterday's hearing, or it could have been the one before. He doesn't want them to. He doesn't want anything else sealed. He's trying to be as transparent as he can, and he stated that clearly, that he wants them to stop handing him stuff to seal and to hide and to do this. He doesn't want it like that, and I respect that a lot. So there is that as well. There's Mikey. No, it's not Waffle House. I do agree, but Denny's is Denny's, bro. It was yesterday. Thank you, bro. Mama Bear, I have to step back for just 1 second. And if you guys excuse me, I'll be right back.
Okay.
How long you guys think it'll take them to see the jury? I think a month.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say
I'm
it.
thinking a month.
Yeah, I think a month at least.
At least a month. And I'd say 75% of the jury are going to be people that are capable of being non-biased.
Yeah, being non-biased. Yep, they're going in with a fair mindset.
Uh-huh. Between mainstream YouTube and conspiracy theorists, there probably isn't a set of ears in the entire state of Idaho or the great 50 states that haven't heard of this case or seen this monster's face.
Unless you go digging for people that live off the grid.
It's going to be the most watched trial in American history, one of them.
There's probably people here in Tennessee that haven't heard about it, but that's because they're not on YouTube.
Those are the only people that won't hear about it, truly.
And say, go find some people that live off the grid, and there's your unbiased.
Yes, the Waltons, they don't.
Stuff like that, farmer people.
So what was the question that was asked that I see somebody saying 5 days for?
Donald asked how long it would take to seat a jury. And I said a month at least.
Yeah,
I said a month at least.
I see a month at least.
And I said 95% of the people will probably just be able to be unbiased and go in with an open-minded opinion.
Yeah, I think the jury selection is going to be a little bit of a thing. It's going to be a little rough.
Do you think it'll be more female, or do you think it'll be 6 females, 6 males?
Well, I know they're probably gonna try to split it, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think
it's gonna be rough. I think it'll be 7-5 female.
It's definitely gonna be a rough go either way. They're gonna struggle with it just a little, I think.
Yep, because they only got so much of a jury pool they could probably pick from anyway.
Well, they have. I don't know. this is something I don't know.
You think
Either
they're going to
Sherry,
grab some of that jury out of that survey pool? You think they're going to grab some jurors out of that survey pool?
I don't know. Raymond Redding, welcome, my friend Raymond.
What's up, buddy?
That's Billy.
I was like, what?
You know who Raymond Reddington is?
I have
Yes,
no
do.
idea.
Come on, bro. You had to have seen Blacklist.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Off the TV
Like,
show.
He's in my opinion, he's the most badass like villain there is, just because he's good with his words. You know.
yep.
What's going on, y'all?
Willard's in the house. What's up, Willie?
Yeah.
Brian is
Good.
guilty as shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Willie, you
Willie
flipped
for
your
the
coin.
win.
Okay.
Willie for the win.
Listen, remember we talked way back, Dago, and we said if they show us something, we'll change our minds.
Yes, sir.
What have we got?
What are you seeing? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here because you've always been kind of.
I'm getting upset, to be honest with you.
That's what I want to know. So I'm glad you're here. Let's hear it, bro.
I'm getting upset because, okay, knowing somebody, you don't really like. How would you rather have it? Would you rather know somebody that like did all these heinous things and justice is served and and everything was done correctly, or knowing somebody that is being railroaded, just picked out of the blue because hey, we have a tip, and possibly if he is convicted, okay, has to go through all his appeals. Say he doesn't win his appeals, and then he's killed. I don't know what's worse. I don't know if it's worse knowing somebody that did it and you know that justice is being served, or you knew somebody that didn't do it, and now you have to watch the system completely railroad him.
Knowing
To
him
me-
and he's killed as an innocent man. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's hard, man, to sit back.
Well,
And you know me, I talk, but I don't go above and beyond, right? I don't like other
Right.
people, they go
Right.
crazy, and stuff. But me, I know what I know. I know who I know. I can provide the facts that I can, and that's it. I don't try to be anything that I'm not.
he is what
you
he
know?
is. I am what I am, and that's what I am.
don't
Right.
We don't
You
have
know,
a
so
perfect
I never sold for anybody. I never sold out for anybody. I refuse to do that. And I refuse to lie about his character, about this, about that. And it was all true because look where we are now. We're in the same spot we were years ago, and it's even worse now. Even worse. The witnesses' statements are even worse now.
Well, and I said
Do you
earlier,
think do you think it's some of the system's fault for doing that, though? I do.
I said Bryan Kohberger will be convicted. This is sad to me, not sad, but it's a sad truth to a lot of people. He's going to be convicted, and to me, what I was trying to say is I just see it that way, no matter what, because he's already been convicted in the court of public opinion. That, believe it or not, I don't care if you go to a
I
trial
don't
or
know.
not.
I'm hearing a tip. You know what I mean? Sorry, I'm just looking at chat. I don't know how they got him. I thought the fucking FBI, excuse my language, I thought the FBI gave him a tip. They gave him a tip and they ran with it and they made Brian stick. That's what I thought,
I'll be right back. Grab my copy.
But
Keep
I didn't
going.
know there was blood on a railing, which, in my opinion, trumps touch DNA any day of the week and 2 days on Sunday. So I don't know.
Yeah, but they don't know whose it is, though, Willie. That's the $1 million question.
That's not my problem. If I'm Brian, just because you can't figure out whose that is, you're going to blame me?
Yeah.
That's a crock of shit.
Yeah, but that's the system.
It's supposed to be beyond a reasonable doubt, not, oh, maybe.
It makes you wonder how many people have been maybe put to death that didn't do something. That makes you wonder.
Well, it's like we're supposed to believe that it's normal that people have blood just on their rail. Like, does anybody else here in chat or on panel have blood right now on any other railings in their home?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not
No.
recently.
Okay. So it's just, we're hearing all this. And the sad part is we're hearing very, very bits and pieces. Imagine if we heard the whole pie. Our heads would probably explode.
Yeah, we might never get the whole pie, though, Willie.
I know, and that's the sad part, but that's the reality we're living with, and that's why I said I don't know what's worse, man. Knowing somebody that did something this heinous, or knowing somebody that didn't do something this heinous that's being made out to be this monster, and his whole life's about to be ruined. I have no faith in the system now. You know,
Broken system is what you're saying. It's broken.
especially his mom's feeling. You know,
Just like the government, broken.
yeah, like she was my 8th grade teacher, man. She's like, I knew her. Like, she's a really nice woman, and like, she's a victim too in this. She doesn't deserve to go through this. And then to watch other people say, "Oh, his parents must have raised a monster. It's their fault. His dad must have known." That's what angered me in the beginning, to stand up and say something.
Well, of course.
You know, but anyway, I don't want to keep repeating myself. It's just, it angers me that by now I thought we would have heard something where I could have at least been like, all right, because I admit when I'm wrong. I don't give a shit. I'm not that person.
What you're saying is you want solid proof.
Yeah, man. Listen, bro. You know, if they came out tomorrow and they were like, look, we found DNA under the victim's fingernails, or we found messages between Bryan and Kaylee. I'd be okay. There's your connection. There's some evidence. Now I can understand. But this,
Yeah, we never heard anything about fingerprints or the fingernails.
you know, I'm guessing your ears are burning because Tandy was just asking. Tandy, do I know Tandy? Sorry, Tandy, if I know you, and maybe it's a different name. I don't know.
That's Tandy. Tandy is Tomboy's better half.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tomboy. I love you, but I just,
Exactly, Tandy. I understand what the judge is saying about the idea. Like, okay, you don't need all this other stuff. This is enough for what's it called? What's the burden of proof?
The probable cause affidavit is what you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah. Where he was like, oh, that's enough for for an arrest. Okay, fine. But then, like, is the judge not foreseeing what this trial is going to look like, especially after today? I mean, those two guys on the stand did terrible. They were like, I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit ago. I don't know. Yeah.
And what does that remind you? What case did that remind you of recently, Dago?
Sure. There's a few.
hearing that, Delphi.
Yeah. Oh, right.
No. Karen Reed.
Yes, that's what I thought you were going to say. Because they were all of them were like, I don't know.
Well, it's because they do know, but they weren't going to tell.
Yeah.
So there's that, and I don't know if that's the answer to what it is, or if they just don't know because of inexperience.
Yeah.
Sonny, hold on a minute.
People give me shit for knowing Bryan. Like, it's my fault. Listen, he wasn't my best friend. He wasn't like, and if he was, I'd probably be 10 times more.
Hold on.
I'd have
Willie. Hold on 1 second. Sunny Spirit. I just need you to show me your face so I know you're human. For like 1 second, and then you can shut your camera back off before I bring you up here, if you don't mind.
I mean, this is just somebody that I knew from school, and I just thought to myself, if I was in jail,
you would say acquaintance, Willie.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. So Casey. Okay, so Casey Orange, right? The one that gave an interview, Casey.
The first girl that gave the first interview about him. Yeah.
Casey.
The one that had like red hair. The redhead.
Yes. So me and Casey graduated together. She was in probably 80% of my classes. So I know Casey very, very well. And that's why in the beginning, if you go back and listen, I said, people would say, oh, did Bryan have a girlfriend? I said, I saw Bryan walking around with the same female every single day, every time I saw him. And who that female was, because I didn't want to dox her, was Casey.
Right. They were pretty close friends.
Absolutely.
Were you friends with Casey too, Willie?
Yes. Casey let me copy off all her homework, all her tests, everything. She'll tell you.
Smart lady then. A very smart lady then.
I tried. Yeah. I wish I was actually reached out to her once to try to talk to her and get like a one-on-one opinion.
I can reach out to her for you because she used to not say a word back in high school. Now she seems like she speaks a lot, so I can reach out to her in a positive aspect and say, hey,
I just want to talk to her as a like back and forth and get her point of view.
Yeah, the problem is, dude, all these people are like the only way I got Rich to come up and talk to me because he was so pissed off at mainstream media is because they're scared that they're going to be made out to be this monster for speaking lightly of Bryan. That's why nobody wants to talk to anybody.
Not in here. I won't.
I understand, but they look at
Yeah, I get it.
everything as a group. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So
I
it's up to
understand.
me to be like, hey, listen, nothing's gonna happen, and that's how I got Rich to come and talk. And luckily, no negative stuff came from that.
Right.
But I learned a lot from Rich. You know what I mean? I learned a lot about Brian's character and instances where I would have fucking knocked my friends out or flipped out or left, and Brian shrugged it off and just helped them out, went about his day. Like, to me, that speaks volumes. Somebody who isn't hot, what's it called? Very easily tempered and stuff
Hot
like
under the
that.
collar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Off the handle.
So to me, that stuff matters. Not all this other weird stuff that people want to know. To me, what matters is his character. Was he on any, how was his psyche at that time? Was he on any kind of psychological medications? Could that have played a factor? All that stuff to me matters more than were there tunnels,
Yeah, right, exactly. Sunny Spirit, listen, I don't have any problems bringing you up, but I just need you to show me your face for like 30 seconds so I can make sure you're human. And then I'll bring you up with no worries
And
whatsoever.
luckily, just by the grace of God, I know his pharmacist. His pharmacist was literally just at my house 5 minutes ago. So, like, I know Brian's pharmacist just because it's a small town. Everybody knows each other. You know what I mean? And so I know.
Was this Pennsylvania?
Huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Is this in PA?
Yeah. That's where his because when he moved out to Idaho, he might have had to switch probably when he moved out there, but for 99% of his life, it was up here. It was up there in Effort, right there at CBS off of 115.
Did he ever live in Idaho? I thought it was Washington.
Yeah, he was in Idaho for 5 months, I believe.
Well, they're Pullman, basically Pullman, but yeah, that's what he's saying, Willie. He's thinking that he lived in Idaho.
Oh, no. This is an Effort, Pennsylvania, right there off 115. It's basically where like all the people up there that would do drugs would go in to get needles. Like Jeremy Saba.
Yeah, no.
Who was
Jeremy.
Yeah.
I know who Jeremy is, right?
Jeremy was his best friend. Jeremy was my best friend at one point. I knew his mom was my substitute teacher when I was really young. My dad knew his parents, and Saba wound up passing away. So like I said, I know Brian's friends as my friends. But Brian wasn't my friend, and I'm not going to pretend that he was because he was.
Single day, every time I saw her.
You can turn your camera off now, Sonny.
I didn't want to dox her. It was Casey.
Hold on. You got to shut the YouTube off in the background. We won't be able to hear you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to mute the YouTube.
With Casey too?
So
yes, Casey let me copy off all her homework.
Hold on, everybody.
Everything. She'll tell you.
Sonny, can you hear me?
A very smart lady.
Honey.
I was actually reached out to her once to try to talk to her and get like a.
Can't you mute her yourself?
I can reach out to her for you because she.
Okay, Sonny, if
There
you
you
can
go.
hear me, you got to turn the YouTube off in the background so that we can hear you up here, hon. That's all.
Yeah, but Donald, I ran into him twice.
Dude, all these people.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I ran into him twice at two of my a couple of parties I threw. We exchanged a couple words, and then the other two times that I saw Brian was in the weight room because at sports and I play baseball, so after practice we would weight lift. So towards my senior year, junior year, Brian started to be more active and stuff, and that's kind of how we built that relationship with Skylar Jacobson, who was a cross country runner. If you remember who that is.
Yeah, because he was an avid runner. Yeah, BK was an avid runner.
Yeah, so I'm actually on the hunt now to try to get a hold of Skylar to see what kind of just what kind of communication they had before, this all happened. Because somebody told me that they were jogging together days prior. Is that true?
Right. I had heard that too, yeah.
So to me, it's like, if there's
was he in wrestling too? I was told that he might have been in wrestling.
Oh yeah, Skylar probably. Skylar Dickerson, yeah. I think he wrestled with Ernest Klingel. I'm sorry, I don't want to dox anybody, but yeah, I think he wrestled with Ernest. But he was mainly known for track and field. He was a runner.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And I don't think Brian played for the school, if I'm not mistaken, because I never really saw Bryan at practice, because field and track practice behind our field when we played baseball, because the football field's right behind us and they have a track around the field. So we would always kind of commingle with each other. I never really commingled with Bryan. That's why I know that he never was really on the actual team.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
box.
I have a question for you too, Willie, here in a quick second. First off, Sonny, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
can
Yeah.
hear you.
And you got the YouTube up. Good. Okay. Good. I wasn't trying to be mean. It's just when you have YouTube running in the background, we can't hear you. You can't hear us, and there's echoes. So
Yeah,
anyway,
no, I just totally
A
wasn't
lot
paying
of us,
attention.
a lot of us kill YouTube
that's
on the
okay.
panel.
Welcome. Appreciate you joining us, Willie. Since you're here and you brought up some of the stuff from the past, let me ask you real quick, because we're going to delve into this not tonight, but one of these coming up days. And
It's all good.
We can get to you, Sonny, with what your thoughts are. I know you've heard recently about how the home invasion that had happened previously before this went down, and they're trying to say Sarge is not here, Elizabeth. Sorry. Trying
Sarge
to say
who?
Sarge. You know Sarge.
You're
He's not
talking
here.
about the one in Pullman.
Friday? Yeah.
Though?
Yeah,
You're
but
talking about the one. You're talking about the one in Pullman.
No. Or wait, maybe. Anyway, hold on a minute, Don. I'm trying. My head's all crossed right now. There was a home invasion that happened that they were looking into to try to see if that could have been Bryan's first instance, if he was the one that did that. Blah blah blah. Before this went down, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one was in the
I
news.
think. Yeah. Sorry, Don. Go ahead.
No, I just thought it was Pullman. It was like 8 miles or something from the actual Idaho 4. They're saying it was in Pullman, 8 miles.
That was
They don't think the height of that person though matched what BK was though.
Right. Yeah. So I just wondered what your thoughts were on that, Willie, if you had any at all. You don't have to. I just was curious.
Can you ask me the question one more time? Sorry, I'm getting something together here.
There was a home invasion that happened. I could actually probably pull it up.
Yeah, where at? Lived in a basement that was similar levels. It had like 2 or 3 levels on it, and they lived in a basement. And he actually went in the house. They claimed somebody went in the house with a knife. Same kind of characteristics that was in the Idaho. And they can't connect. They were thinking it might have been connected.
Yes, and that's.
Listen, I'm sure there's been a couple.
But it happened in 2021. That's the problem.
Okay, never mind. But I'm sure there's been a couple instances of crimes that have happened, even if it's in a 1,000-mile radius, that it could have been this person. Like, this person is long gone by now if it's not Bryan.
Oh, God, yeah.
They could be in jail. They could wind up confessing in a couple months. Like,
that's the problem, is if this ends up not... Okay, here's the thing, and I've said this before.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want Ann Taylor or the defense team to get Bryan off who did it. Okay, but if he did do it, hold on, I'm confusing myself. If he didn't do it, and she proves that he didn't do it, and it's not just a loophole or some bullshit technicality bullshit, and they're done with it, and Bryan walks free on this. First off, who did it, and is that person ever going to be looked at?
They have no drawing board to go back to.
That's what I'm saying. There was nothing else ever. I'm sure they did think about other people.
It's gone.
Yeah. Anybody that did do it is long gone. Or if they're not gone, anything involving what their involvement is gone.
Let me ask you this. If they didn't even check the trash in the one female's room, did they even check the sewage system? Did they check the pipes?
In where? In his apartment or
in the home they demolished?
I don't know. I would imagine they would have, but
maybe exactly.
That whatever that H thing, I think they did the ducks.
I just want to know why they were so quick to knock it down, because what they told us was we can't wait to build a memorial garden, but they really don't give a shit about the memorial garden. So what's the real reason?
Right.
They wanted it out of the public eye. They wanted the house down because it was they didn't want it there.
But even the families begged them, dude, to keep it up. Like, that's sad to me.
Yeah, but you have these psychotic YouTubers that have nothing better to do and murder fangirls that want to go to places like that, break in, film themselves, and get rich and famous.
Or idiots that are going over there
Yeah.
picking all over the site.
Yeah,
Like,
taking
an
stuff
asshole.
out of there.
What kind of bullshit is that? Going and
Or
pissing
Nancy
on-
Grace, who fucking sets up a picnic table in front of the house. That was sick.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Poor Nancy. Makes no sense. But
For
there's
Nancy.
ignorant people out there that are they're ignorant. There's
They
people
are,
that are,
man.
period.
They
Just
fame off it. They want the 15 minutes of fame off of something evil.
They
yeah,
claim
and
they
mom-
care so much about the victims, but yet they do so much to make them look so,
and mom's right.
disgusting in
Like,
the public view.
there are some fucking, and excuse the language, but it makes me nuts and it pisses me off. There are some really fucked in the head, ignorant ass YouTubers out there that don't give two fucks about anybody but
It
themselves.
really is, man.
Period. It's sick.
And I'm not going to say any names, but the reason I don't come on YouTube too much is because every single day, dude, I see the name Sebastian Roberts
Mhm.
on one channel or another, and it's like, oh my god, still.
And it's nothing that has to do. That's the thing, Willie. If you go into those shows,
So I gave up.
they're not talking about Sebastian at all.
I know they're not, and that's why I gave up. And then that's why I come here like here and there because I don't really come on YouTube too much, man. It's all, you know.
I get it. I understand completely.
It's sad because if we actually use it for good and good only, we could probably all and band on together, you know, like channels banding together to figure shit out. We could probably solve a lot of crimes.
It probably could solve a crime for sure if everybody would work together instead of either trying to get rich off of it or
Okay.
coming out here because they're drama fucking mongers and that's all they care about.
Exactly, but that's in the perfect world. So I was just saying, never mind. Anyway, but yeah, man, it saddens me that it's looking more and more that he's being railroaded because we're not hearing any kind of evidence otherwise. So
Well, like I said, I feel like he will be convicted, regardless. And I think that all I'm saying is I would like to see something. I should say this. I hope to see some kind of concrete something within this trial that says, yep, Bryan Kohberger did this. And I'm not saying that because I want the guy to be, you know what I mean? I'm
but
saying
if they
it-
had that, the defense wouldn't be acting like this. Yes or no?
Well, now remember this though, Willie. That's their job. This is her job.
I know, but
That's
it's also
their
a job for them to protect the life of their client. And if they had the smoking gun, wouldn't you want to talk them into a plea deal?
I agree, but what if they're not? I don't think they're going to offer a plea deal on this. That's the
Because
thing.
if they don't, well, how can you?
I don't think you can on it. I don't know. I'm not real familiar with the court stuff. Mom, you know more
You have
about
no
that.
smoking gun. Of course, they're not going to take a plea. They're going to say F off.
In a case like this, though, can they offer a plea? I know Bill
Yeah.
Thompson.
Yeah, they can. It's
I'm
just
sure they can.
they would
Okay.
really leave it more up to the families, which we all know one of them would definitely not go for it. But
He's
at
already
the
said-
same time, if it could save them, because they're gonna have to deal with appeals and shit anyway. Like this is never gonna be over for them.
Yeah.
Up
and
the ass.
right. I'm sorry, Sonny. I didn't.
Be at least 10
Truly,
years
what
of
are your thoughts, Sonny? I didn't let you speak yet. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh no, that's fine. You were actually the first show I called into, Dago, back in the day. I was never ever a YouTube person, and I came on your show one night, like I don't know, like right when this case started, because it was making me crazy. What up,
Right.
Willie? I know Willie
What up?
from Dinky and Twizzos.
Oh yeah. Twiz comes in
Yeah.
here from time to time.
Dago, and like one or two other people are the only YouTube streamers that I've actually fully, generally trust because you know,
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I do.
you know that, bro.
Oh, I know. I appreciate you too very much. So what do you think so far then, Sonny? I remember your name. I do remember your name. What
So,
do you
well,
think?
okay, so back when I first started following this, like I was totally convinced that he was innocent. I still I have tried to talk to people like that people probably called the guilters, like Daniel and these assholes, and he was just a dick to me. I'm like, listen, dude, like I want him to be guilty because I want them to have the right person
You want
jail.
justice? Yeah.
I want justice for these families. Like, I want it. But what I'm seeing is not the way that a normal prosecution acts when they have the guy. They are going to handle, like, you ask any fucking I'm sorry, I have a really bad sailor mouth. I'll try to keep that in check.
So do I.
You're all right. You're all right.
But you ask any prosecutor who has been prosecutor for any length of time, when they have a case, like they were, like they came out and told us, like, we got our guy,
Yeah.
if you really had your guy, then you would have all of your ducks in a row.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was listening to some of y'all earlier talking about Anne, and I think it's very interesting because I'm coming at this completely intellectually, honestly, and I'm not trying to be a butthead or anything. Like,
No,
I
it's okay.
I had to walk away from this for a while because I was getting way too, like, it was messing with my
So did I.
A lot of people
We
have.
all
It's
had
okay.
that. We've all had that happen.
But
Mhm.
I have to defend Anne. I do not think that Anne. I think, first of all, Anne is she right now has another death penalty case that she's working on. So the idea that she's not absolutely bombarded
Right.
is completely ill-informed, in my opinion. Also, I do not agree with the fact that she was favored. I think Bill was favored. I mean, Bill would sit up there and say, "Judge, you have to do this," and the judge would be like, "Okay." I mean, it's like, so it's
Right.
so interesting to me how we come at this. I believe we're all being intellectually honest. I don't think any of
yeah.
us have any reason to not be, but we see it so differently. And
Yeah.
I think that Anne. I have. Listen, I know a lot about the law. I am not a lawyer, but I know a lot. And I do know that top attorneys everywhere will say things like, we're going to fight these charges and blah, 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 blah. But to stand in the courtroom and
Mhm.
say that your client is innocent, that is something that I don't know if I've ever seen it. And if I have, it's
What
been
about a privilege to represent your client?
Well, that can be too. I mean, you and I completely disagree on another high-profile case, Willie.
Which one?
Karen Reed. I
Karen's,
promise you that. Yes. I
No
know.
way.
Karen's as guilty as a motherfucker, dude. And
Yeah, right.
I'll prove it.
I
to
knew
you.
that was coming. I knew
I
that was
won't.
coming.
Yeah, okay.
I
True for
won't waste
Paul.
this stream. No, I won't waste this stream doing it. But I would love to have the opportunity to.
Oh, I would love to have a debate on that.
Yeah,
Sure. We'll do it.
because when
For
I
sure.
actually, Willie, you're one of the first ones I met, and you and I talked about it. Actually, it might have even been on Dago's channel, but
Really?
yeah, because I was the one that brought Karen Reed's to your attention. I was like, "Have you guys heard of this case?" And
Oh,
I was
really?
like,
I don't remember. Listen, I don't remember what I did yesterday. All right, I'm sorry.
yeah,
I remember. Yeah.
yeah. And so anyway, so I went into that trial, and honestly, the only reason I even watched her trial was because I was so over this whole Idaho 4 situation. I'm like, we're not getting any facts. We're going around and around in circles. People are just making shit up at this point, and I'm tired of it. And I had to get out for my own mental health. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, and so then I went and watched it. I really quite begrudgingly watched it. I had no interest in it. To me, it seemed like it was a pretty, like, whatever. But then I heard just a little bit of Turtle Boy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually, look into it. And I did, and within the first day, I was like, yeah, this is a bunch of
What I
bullshit.
find amazing about Idaho is all the channels that used to degrade people for having an opposite opinion are now switching their narrative, especially the first channel I called into, I don't mind saying it, which is T-Rev. He was guilty, guilty, guilty. Brian called into my show, guilty, guilty, guilty. And then like a week ago, I saw that he went live and it said, Bryan Kohberger is innocent.
What?
Swear I swear to God.
I don't pay attention to him.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
No, I know you don't pay attention, but I'm just saying the same channels that used to berate people and kick them out for having a different opinion are the same ones now that are going with the narrative of Bryan's innocent. It's just funny to me that it's all about click, click, click.
And that's
Yeah,
and
well-
here's what probably happened over there is that he probably had more people that were thinking Bryan was innocent. So what he does,
Exactly.
as he flipped his script so that they
So
would still want to be
fucking
there.
fake, Dago.
Yes, I know. I
It
do. I get it.
sucks. And they're all
That's why I'll always come to your channel, bro, because I know that, no matter what, you're not going to sell out for somebody.
No, I won't. I believe what I believe, and I'm not. And that's what's
Dago's
great
not
about
that
this
type of
community.
person.
The people in this community, I promise you, there's not one person in here that I've ever seen that is flip-flopped on something. I've had people that go, well, this makes me think this maybe now or that. But people believe in what they believe in, and these people are honest and they're good people, and that's why they're here. That's why. And I'm telling you, that's why these people are who they are. I love it.
Tell her, Phil. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love everybody in here, and even if I come and there's new people in here, they're so chill. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's a reflection of yourself, just so you know. So
yeah, it's always welcoming.
I know you, but I know you don't hear it enough. So
well, I
well, probably
appreciate
from
it
the
very
chicks. You don't hear enough from the dude because us men have a hard time complimenting each other. But you know what I
And
mean.
my biggest thing though is I appreciate everybody's opinions, even if they are highly against what I believe in. I'm not gonna drag you because you think something different than me. Because in all reality, guys, at the very end of all of this, and again, excuse my language, but who gives a fuck what we think?
Exactly.
Okay? We're nobody. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. We are nobody. Exactly.
That's
I
it.
don't know, Willie. I don't know, Willie. He tells me I'm intimidating.
You are definitely.
Wait, who's that?
That's
It's
Kimber.
Kimber.
She's intimidating.
I said you're intimidating?
No, Dago said I was
Oh,
intimidating.
I was gonna say.
She is intimidating. She always has been to me. I don't know why. I don't know. She reminds me of my wife to an extent because my wife is very sweet and quiet until you push that button.
Until she's not.
You better
I'm
run for the hills.
I'm never sweet and quiet.
Yes, you are.
So
When
if
you go
you
to
guys
sleep.
think
When I go to sleep, I'm sweet and quiet.
The only person I find intimidating is Sarah Boone.
Oh hell no!
I haven't told my husband the Sarah Boone story, so yeah, he probably doesn't want to hear that one.
Oh, Dawn would love that. He'd get a kick out of that one. He'd have loved to watch that trial.
No, he doesn't want to hear
Well,
about
Dago,
that
let me
one.
ask you this, because me and you have had multiple conversations for multiple years now, for Christ's sakes, and you used to go in percentages, and you were kind of leaning here, leaning there. Let me ask you this. After what you've just witnessed, aside from the legal aspect of it, of IGG and this, that, and the third, all the little details you just heard, what's your take on it?
The details or the case itself?
The case itself and what you just heard as far as stuff we didn't know about, and now what your opinion is.
Okay, so I'm shocked with some of the things, but not shocked because I knew there was some other stuff that probably wasn't right. So I'll say that. But honest to God, I've even actually said this. My wife and I just talked about this because and I'm gonna better watch what you guys say. My wife absolutely thinks that Bryan is innocent, and she will not falter from that. It just doesn't make sense to her. Okay. And I'm like, well, honey, I can't say that I feel that way. I'm in between 50-50. I have been, I will be there. I will stay there until somebody shows me either that he absolutely had nothing to do with this whatsoever, or that he did this and did it all himself. That's what I'm waiting to see. And I'm hoping to see that at the trial. That's all I'm saying. I still feel like I'm in the middle, Willie. I can't lean any other direction. Now I have leaned towards the innocent side quite a bit, okay, to an extent, percentages like you said, but with the new stuff that we've heard, I'm questioning the investigation even more now. Okay, let me put it that way. That's where my issues are. Is that yes, I've always thought that the investigation was botched from the beginning because of how everything went down with, the kids all being there and this and that kind of shit. Hey, Lisa, welcome.
Yeah.
And I'm still like highly, even more irritated about the investigation. None of
What do you mean, Mark?
That should have happened. None of the stuff that should have happened, or I'm sorry, none of the stuff that happened should have happened. Okay. And now hearing these things, a bloody handprint, that really floored me. Where was that at? Why was it not talked about? Why was that never brought into question? DNA wise, that's an issue. things like that. Like, and then to hear, okay, well, Dylan really doesn't know anything. Things like that. Like, what the hell, guys? Come on.
And then she said, I don't know if what I saw was 100% truthful. How does a witness say that?
Well, well, I can tell you how, and I have to defend her, believe it or not, on this aspect. The trauma that she could have experienced could cause that, Willie. That's a fact.
So then why even use that in your PCA then?
That was there's my issue right there. That's what I said. Why did you put that in? Why did you put what she said in there rather than taking what she may have actually said and making it more realistic and putting that in instead? That's what my issue is with this.
Exactly.
Right, because she can't both be in a state of shock from fear and go back to sleep like nothing happened because she thought it was a partier.
There's that's it. Thank you.
They said both of those things literally right after one another in the PCA, and it's like.
So my huge question then, right? If she lied, they let her go, they let her lie, and then they corroborate her story is why? What makes her so special?
There were 3 because she's considered, well, not considered. She's a survivor and a victim as well. If she went through this scenario and survived this,
Diego, if she was a guy,
she would have been in prison.
Hold on. I wasn't done, and you're right. I said that myself. If she was a guy, she'd have been arrested. I know. You know that, okay?
Well, now, but this was before I knew she changed her story 4 times.
Yeah.
Well, she's also, I know of 3 interviews that they did with her. I know 3 that I know of, okay? Based on what the discovery that they were reading from. I don't know if there was any more, okay? I don't know. She's all over the place, and that's what I'm saying. If she was drunk, if she was on something that night, they were partying, who knows? She's very young, very timid, but whatever you want to say. That's where I think part of the problem is. But I still, and I said this earlier, I'm still reading the PCA, which is what we're supposed to stick to. She opened and closed her door 3 times. She was texting back and forth with Bethany back and what? Why did you not ever one time call the police?
Why are you closing your door?
Diego, you know how bad that would smell in there? 8 hours later.
Your door.
Listen, I said that, honey. I said that based on my experience. Blood. Everybody knows what blood smells like. That much blood, you could smell it. You could smell it through the door. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. Ask a nurse about a rhinoplasty, about how bad a fucking rhinoplasty smells up a whole hospital floor.
Oh, I know. It's bad.
I was listening to you earlier about the dog conversation, which I think is good. I mean, I've had dogs my whole life too, and yes, all dogs do act differently, but to get my head around the idea that that dog would have stayed in an unlocked room while his mommy was getting and then to not go check on her.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, but he would have went and checked on her. Like, I had a dog when I was in college, and my friends used to give me shit because I would leave parties early to go, and they'd be like, "You didn't give birth to this dog," and I was like, "I don't give a shit. This is my baby."
In my opinion, somebody took that dog for a walk.
Somebody had that dog. Like, there is way too much. So here's my thing: are there people in here that totally like they're convinced that he's guilty? Because I really want to be convinced that he's like, I'm not kidding.
Me too, but I want to know why.
What do you mean why? Why he would have done it?
Okay, okay. Like, say somebody says, "I think he's guilty." Great.
Right, that's what I want. That's what I'm asking. Yeah, that's what I'm asking because I want to know the reason.
Like, why? Like, I understand the touch DNA, but if we take the touch DNA out of it, what other evidence are you looking at?
We need something else to back up the DNA, really.
Yeah. Okay. So here's another thing. Also, with the IgG stuff, like, yes, it has solved a lot of cold cases, but this is where my true crime comes in because I've followed Cece Moore since she started, and she's basically the godmother of this stuff. Okay. And she will tell you that this stuff is not supposed to get somebody. This is not probable cause. You do not use IgG on day whatever 10 or 14 or whatever it was to start trying to build a family tree. You just don't. They don't do that. That's not what IgG is for. IgG is for cold cases, which is why it's been used to solve a lot of cold cases.
That makes sense.
Now, when you
IgG for identity.
but at the same time, like, let's be honest, there's a lot of fucking fuckery going on here. And if they did this clean, if all they did was not abide by a like performative, like we shouldn't do this, but it's not illegal. If that's all they did, would the FBI destroy every bit of evidence that they ever did it? And would they run away from it and not want anything to do with it if that's all that was done here? I mean, there was a, and I haven't looked lately, but at the beginning of this case, John Judge signed one of his court affidavits saying, he literally said that he had concerns about the transport of the DNA.
Wow.
Yes.
I know that.
That is a problem.
I remember that.
Is a
Yeah.
problem. The whole way, I mean, this car, this has been my thing too. Like, you guys, this man is supposed to have slaughtered 4 human beings with a knife. If
And how
you've
long?
ever watched any crime, you know that you are not going to be able to. I mean, according to what we've heard,
7 minutes.
over 100 stabs. Okay, this man would have cut himself, or woman, or whoever did this. They would have, because the hilt of the knife is not meant to
But do you
survive.
think they would have at least got blood on their face?
There would have been blood everywhere.
So then
Everywhere.
why isn't this Dylan describing this person with blood all over their face if she could see half his face?
I mean, the whole thing, the whole scene, when you really think about it, like people say, like 8 minutes is a really long time. Okay, that's fine. 8 minutes is a long time. But here's what I want you to do in that 8 minutes. I want you to take a pillow and I want you to punch that pillow for 8 minutes straight and tell me if you can actually
But it's not 8 minutes.
and B, actually get up and walk after
It's
you do
not
that.
8 minutes because they
you
have them
actually gotta
on
shorten
video.
that.
They have
Yeah.
them on video at what is it, 5:20, right?
420.
Sorry, 4:20. They have Xana on her phone at 4:12 or 4:13.
412.
412.
4:12. So now we have an 8-minute gap between that. Now you have to, again, like I keep saying, you have to give him time to get out of the house, into his car, and compose himself, and
Hold
then
on.
he
Stop
has
right
to drive
back
into
up,
the camera.
Willie, wait, stop. We talked about this a little bit earlier in Discord. You have to give him time to get out of the house, take off the Tyvek suit that he might be wearing, possibly. Okay, take all that down, get into the car, and then start moving, because that there's extra time there with that too. So there's that. Okay.
Yeah.
And
no time to compose himself beforehand, which means he parked, got out, and ran in.
Well, here's the other side of this too. If the car was even there, that's the other side. The car, there's other people, and I believe that this is possible, that he could have parked down on the other side, down that stairwell.
Oh,
on
I
the other
believe
side
it.
of
He's
that
a
road.
runner.
Yeah,
Right.
that would make sense to me. But see, all of the stuff that, like, Willie and I go way back. Him and I were in communication. He's one of the first people I talked about with this stuff too, and we totally agree on all this stuff, because it's like none of this stuff makes sense when you think about crime and you have like walked through like court processes like this many times, like I have. You know what to look for, and none of this makes sense. And then at some point, Bill didn't Bill get up in front of the court before even John Judge was done and said, like, this PCA is shit and that doesn't even mean anything anymore? Didn't he write
that's
that in
why I
one
don't
of his?
understand why we're still talking about it, because the prosecution said themselves that the PCA is what they say is irrelevant.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. Doesn't really hold any facts. And so this is what
how
I'm
do you
saying.
tell a jury that?
When we're starting to find out facts now, and it's not helping me convince me that this is even plausible, this is a problem. When Judge Hitler, I always want to call him Hitler, when he's up there and he's saying, well, this is enough for probable cause, Judge Hitler, why did they avoid a preliminary hearing, and why did they duck and go with a tail between their legs to do a grand jury? Why? Because they knew that they didn't have, and from what we've heard, that grand jury still wanted more information because they had lots of questions.
The grand jury had more questions.
Told them, suck it up and, like, let's get our guy here, and they pretty much made him freaking I mean, like, this is all of this But yeah, they
Like,
wanted
like usually a grand jury is a walk in the park. This grand jury wanted to see more shit.
exactly. I mean, this is why I'm saying,
There you
like,
go. You're muted.
Sorry, I was gonna say, yeah, that was an issue for me too. That the grand jury did have more questions toward things. You
Yeah.
know, they
Crazy.
should have had everything clearly, brought to them before they made that decision. In my opinion.
Amen.
I mean, I would like to know what the prosecution's theory is, since we all know the PCA isn't their theory anymore. What is the theory? Because maybe the theory could
Right.
actually make some fucking sense.
What's
but for
the
the love of
opening gonna
God,
be? What's the opening gonna be?
Well,
what?
here, you guys, listen real quick. Hold on a minute. I'm sorry. They kind of broke down the whole phone thing too the other day. We heard that in the hearing yesterday, I think, where they're saying that basically is garbage. So that's kind of out of the picture now.
So
Which we
what
pretty
isn't
much knew
garbage?
from Cy.
I'm sorry.
Which
What
we pretty
isn't
much knew
garbage?
from Cy Ray. Like, Cy Ray is a freaking lifetime police officer, and he's gonna come up there and say, look, dude, like, I have the right to change my mind, but you guys didn't even give me enough information to
And
even
he
make it.
testifies for the prosecution 99% of the time.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's getting up there for the defense saying, I can change my mind, but you guys
Yeah.
haven't given me enough information to even make a decision whether or not I believe
Exactly.
your theory or their theory. So how could
And
the
then
prosecution
Payne.
have a theory? He didn't have enough evidence to make a theory. So that
Exactly.
tells me right there that the frickin'
And he
prosecution
even
doesn't.
knows. And he knows because today it seemed like that they were just pushing blame on the FBI guy, and that guy, Cy knows.
Lowry. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the problem. Like, you can't just get up there and say, like, well, it's the other guy's fault. It's the other guy. Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, how you are putting
The
these
FBI only
families,
gave him a tip for a reason. They didn't
You
want to really get involved.
you're putting these families through absolute hell, and you're guaranteeing them that you have your man. I would love to have a conversation with the Gonzaleses, because I really want to know
They
what
don't think it's
changed.
Brian. They know it's not Brian. Come
I
on.
want to know what changed Steve's mind, because we all saw how Steve was acting in the beginning. He didn't listen to the cops.
Nothing changed his mind. His mind changed because he understood that he has to now sway a jury because that's his only option.
I don't know.
Say it wasn't Brian.
Listen, guys, Steve wants the truth.
I don't think
Steve
Steve
wants
would
the
want
truth and
the
justice.
wrong.
That's all.
I don't think Steve would want
His
the
wife doesn't.
What's that?
Steve's wife doesn't care who's convicted.
Well, I kind of get that from her, but I honest to God do not think that. I don't think either of them, if asked, like, if really pushed, like, do you want to get the actual person that did this, or do you just want some other guy to die?
Here's the thing, Willie, think about this though. As a parent, okay, and I kind of feel, I understand Christy's mentality. I get that. She wants justice in her mind for the loss of her child. And the story,
I get it. I get it.
And I get what you're saying. Thank you, Mikey, for putting that up there. I appreciate you, brother.
But her and her husband are saying two completely different things.
I think Steve is thinking a little deeper with it, that he wants to know the actual fucking truth. Period.
But what
Like,
changed his mind, do you think, Dago?
some of the stuff probably that he's seen. Steve has been through hell and back 5 times over, folks, with all this bullshit on the internet. He's had people contacting him, sending him things, doing this, doing that, blah, 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 so on and so forth. The man's mind has got to be like scrambled eggs, okay?
No, I know, but that's why I would love to know what changed his mind, because this goes back to my theory again, which isn't even a theory, it's a fact, that when a prosecution brings a case and they are confident in their case, they are going to show you every freaking card in their hand. They have nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, look at the guy that shot the CEO.
What's
his name?
They want it all out in the open. What's that?
The guy who shot the CEO.
Oh, Luigi. Luigi Manicotti. Yeah.
Every time they found a piece of evidence, they would parade it all over the news. Oh, we found this, we found this, we found this. But here, everything has to be secret.
Well,
yeah, I don't get
it. There's a gag order on this. That's why. That situation is different, though, Willie.
I'm talking about in the beginning, man.
Oh, no, I get it. They know who did it, though. They have it dead to rights. He's on camera, blah, blah, blah. He admitted all that kind of shit.
But supposedly they have Brian did the rights on camera.
I'd like to see that.
I've never seen a prosecution. I've never seen a prosecution hide the 8 ball like this. Like, why are they hiding everything? It's like they want to make Anne, like, they want to make her dig. Like, Do you have
They
any
don't want to
idea
fire.
how much
The only thing I think it
information?
is, they don't
Here's
want
the
to
thing.
the jury.
Here's the thing with that. Like, I agree with you that I think that the prosecution, and I'm gonna tell you guys, we're gonna cut this short here in a minute, but I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do though. I think though that the prosecution, that's what's caused so many people to say that this is bullshit, because they haven't shown a queen or a king or an ace. They've only shown a 9, an 8, a 7, and a 6, right?
Not even. They've shown
Exactly.
it too.
And that's what I'm saying. And everybody's like, they got more, they got more, they got more, they got this, they got this, they got this.
Bullshit.
And every time I've sat patiently and I've expected something to pop up. Well, they're saving it for the trial. They're saving it for the trial. I get
No, the
that. I
defense
respect
already
that, but why would you
knows.
do that though? Why would you do, if you have the guy dead to rights and you know that there's somebody there defending him?
You can't
Yeah,
hide
where's
it.
the smoking gun? The smoking gun.
Where
is what we
is
need.
it?
Poker.
That's what I want to know, okay? Because the things that we have seen, guys, that's what has made this so hard for me, okay? That's why I can't say he's guilty or he's innocent. That is exactly what has made this so hard for me, because they're not coming out with anything that is either contradicts anything the defense has. They're not showing anything of any power whatsoever, in my opinion. Nothing. The
Or
phone,
anything new.
everything they show something, it's been debunked.
Yeah.
So I don't get that, you know. That's my problem with this whole thing. But what I plan on doing, I'm gonna have to cut this short, guys, because my wife is yelling for me. But
Oh, shit.
what I want to do, and I'd like to have all of you here that want to be here, of course, but I want to do a debate, guys. I want to have a debate on this, on both sides of this, as adults, not attacking each other. And I want to talk about all the points on this like this, okay? Have a good conversation. I'm gonna do it.
I'll even go to the guilty side if I have to.
And that's what
Yeah,
I want
I
to talk
mean,
about.
that'd be fun. That would be interesting to, because I like
Oh yeah,
literally.
I can definitely debate on the guilty side. It's just I gotta, you know.
I mean, that's what I used to do with speech. It's actually a really good exercise, but I can't. Like, honest to God, give me something to work with.
I can. I'll figure something out. I'll be
And
alright.
everybody, I'm saying everybody has the right to their feelings, and we can talk through all these points. I want to talk about the evidence that's there so far that looks at that you know that they have against Bryan, so on and so forth, that kind of stuff. I want to have a
Thank
nice
you, Diego.
conversation.
I so want to have an honest, intellectual, adult conversation with people about this. So thank you so much, because I
I want to know. I want to know
Without attacking each other, that's all we got to do, folks. What'd you
Oh,
say,
yeah.
Don?
I said
I
I want to
think
know why they had all that tape around the doors. Remember the sliding glass doors and all that, and even where they had the red tape. Why isn't there no fingerprints?
And why does it look like they painted it? It literally looks like they painted it. I'll see if I can't find that picture. It looks like they painted it, you guys.
I don't know. It's a good question. It really is. But like I said, I think
I want to know what was under the victim's fingernail.
I will be in a minute. Yeah, I think we can all at this point in this case be adults, have a good adult conversation, a debatable conversation,
Absolutely.
both sides back and forth, break down the evidence, talk about so and so forth. So I'm going to set that up here.
I mean, I think we're all on the same page here, you know.
A lot of people are, and there's a lot of people like Mom absolutely thinks Bryan is 100% guilty, guys.
That's fine.
Absolutely. And I respect
I totally want to hear from her, though. I don't think that I've gotten to hear why she thinks that, and I would
I
love
don't know
to.
why. That's all.
Well, mom stands with victims no matter what until she sees. She does believe that he's innocent until proven guilty, but that's what Mom does. She's an advocate.
I want the trial. I want the trial, and I want it all.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and that's what we're going to talk about, Don. That's how it's going to be, and we're going to be adults about it. And there's people in here that are absolutely 100% he's innocent. There's people that are 100% that he's guilty. In the past, that has not been something that can mesh because people flip out on each other. That's not gonna happen.
That's
not
what I
gonna
can't
happen.
stand. There's people who fucking like ruin their friendships over this. I don't understand that. Dude.
It's not.
Like, me and you have never argued about this because we understand that like it can go either way.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I think we all want, honestly, like, if I had a choice, I want
victim. We just want justice. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this man sitting in prison, and
exactly.
Like, here's the honest to God truth: if he's innocent, his life is over. He's never going to have. I mean, he might not.
I'll make sure. I'll make sure he's all right.
People
there's
People
gonna be,
could
even if
kill
he's found,
him. Like
even if
literally kill him.
No. I'll make sure he's all right.
even if he's found innocent, there's still gonna be people that think he's guilty, regardless. You guys know
That's
how this
fine.
works.
They
And
can
vice
come.
versa.
They can come meet us in the Poconos. I'll be ready. I swear to
Anyway,
God, you guys think I'm joking? I can get into that fucking development tomorrow.
I get it. I get it. I get it.
Well,
So
take us
Willie,
all, Willie. What the hell are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for him to come home. What do you mean? What am I waiting for? I don't have a reason to go in there.
Oh,
you're a
okay.
mess, bro. But anyway, Willie,
I'm just
thank
So
saying, dude.
when are we doing this, Dago?
you. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow night. Who knows? I'll let everybody know. I'll put it up.
Wednesday. I can do. I'm open until Wednesday. Wednesday's not good for me.
Tomorrow's Saturday. Hold on, everyone.
Yeah, I can do it tomorrow. Yeah, I can do it tomorrow.
That's why I know they have video footage of every single vehicle that went there on that night to
Do
break
you
this
think
door
they
down.
have stuff in this? Do you think they have stuff on the cell phones, Willie? You think they have audio or anything,
No,
or a
no.
picture of it or
I don't
anything?
think they have shit to prove on the cell phones because Psy is like, no.
Sherry
I'm
said
not
today.
talking about pings. I'm not talking about pings. I'm talking about the info on the phones.
60 devices that they went through. 60 devices, I think it was.
68, Diego. I think they underestimated. Eight went away for some reason because I thought they reported like 68. Now it's down to 60.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see.
Maybe
you're
Yeah,
all
but
right.
you gotta remember that's a lot. That's probably a lot of their friends' stuff. I mean, this is not.
Yeah.
It'll be
Everybody
Joey. If I
outside.
do it tomorrow, I'll put it up on my community page, guys. I'll let everybody know. I'll put it on Twitter if I do it tomorrow night, and I'll put it all up. Everybody will see it for sure. What time and when?
Yeah. But everybody just remember, in my opinion, the most important thing we learned today is there was blood on the hand railing of a unknown male.
Yeah,
but there's still more blood out there. I think there's more blood than that, Willie. I think there's more
I
blood.
know, but that's what we
we
know.
don't even know about.
So let me ask you guys a real quick question. Do you think that that's one of the profiles that they couldn't cover?
Absolutely.
So, well, I was listening
One
to
of the three
Dago.
that were unknown, Diego. One of the three unknown that was in the home. That's probably
But
one
they
of them.
tested it enough to know it was a male, right?
Yeah, that's what's weird too.
But Dago had a really good explanation actually that I had never thought of, which was it could have been like hunters if he went in there and
Why would he have blood in his hand?
because if he was checking,
In a
you know,
rush,
for
he
whatever
could've cut it on
reason.
the door on the
Hold
way in
up,
or
they
something.
said
I
it
thought they
wasn't
got
Ethan's
spooked. I
blood.
thought they
It
got
was not
spooked and
Ethan's
ran out
blood.
and called 911. Yeah, that's
Okay,
the whole
hold
story.
on. Y'all, they said it was
Ethan's.
not Ethan's blood.
No, it
was
wasn't
not
Ethan's blood. It wasn't Ethan's. That's what I was trying to
No.
say. Hold on. But it could have been if he went in that house and touched guys. First off, 4 people. There's blood everywhere. There's a lot of blood. It could have been. They said it wasn't anybody's blood that was victim. There's the issue with that whole thing, though. I thought about that after the fact. But what I don't understand, though, is why this was never talked about until just now. Okay.
Exactly.
Because it's evidence in the case.
Okay, so Dago, here's what I want you to do if you would be so kind, is to please have people that legitimately think that he's guilty, but not just because he got arrested. Like, I want them to bring facts that they're using because I legitimately want them to convince me that this man is guilty.
That's
Like,
what my
legitimately.
plan actually is. Yeah, that's what I want to do, Sonny. I truly want to do that. I've been wanting to do that for a while, actually, with this case. And
But the problem is with that, though. The problem is with that, Sonny, is aside from evidence, motive, character, the weapon, all that shit, they're not going to be able to have because it just doesn't exist.
Well, I could actually go into some things that I think could definitely be like motive type stuff. Psychology.
And I want
But you
everybody that's involved, I want everybody to be able to look at both sides of the situation and talk about how you could see this could be, that could be that, could we have to do
My
it?
biggest question has been, Dago, this whole time is like, all right, if Bryan did this, whatever, I can see somebody snapping. But why wouldn't it be on this, like, a couple of the students he teaches or his professor or somebody in his university? Why is it at another university in a state where you now are going to die if you commit a crime like this? Where if you would have done it in your state, you would have a shot to just do life.
I have
if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
So
I have
probably more than one person. It was probably because it's more than one person.
I have 2 answers to that, Willie. And first off, I think there was one target, specifically one target, and everything else was just collateral damage, in my opinion, sadly. I think that there one answer I think is that there was an interaction at some point between, if he did this, him and this person, and or the other person, and he mistakenly may have taken that person as being the other, or he absolutely did this to see if he could do it, to get away with it, and then he picked a random situation. That's truly another side to that too that I have had to think about, that this could have been 100% random, and he chose this because he saw these girls or this girl or something like that. That's another opinion that I have as well. Now, I'm not saying that that's how this went down, guys. But
And the
it's a
timing,
key.
and he probably had the timing locked down too.
Well, the thing about that too is, Willie, and trust me, I like totally don't like, you know where I stand on this,
I
but
know.
I've been
I'm
doing
just
a
asking.
ton of
Listen,
like,
when I ask questions, I will never judge anybody by somebody's answer, okay? Because I understand, like, we're all trying to figure this out. So I don't look
Absolutely.
down on anybody if you have an answer that is against
Yeah,
him
we
or
want
with
the
him. It
truth.
doesn't matter to me, you know?
We're
no,
just
but
trying to get
so,
to the truth.
but the,
Exactly.
I watched, and you know how I feel about McDonough too. He's such a dipshit, but,
Fuck him.
and I
Yeah,
hate when people compare him to a serial killer, but I have actually been thinking about this, and I watched a interview with Ted Bundy's attorney, and Ted Bundy called him and asked him where they give, like, when he got out, when he was like running from the prison wherever he escaped from, California or wherever he was.
Right.
And he called his attorney and said, where do I need to go to get the death penalty? He wanted it. He was so, like, he
I'm
just
so
did.
glad you hate him too, Dago.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't stand
sorry,
him.
go ahead. I'm still listening. Go ahead.
Don't
I
it?
can't
Yeah.
stand him.
He's such a
Chris,
dipshit.
I like what you said. Chris McDipshit is what I'm gonna start calling him. I love that. He's a complete idiot as far as I'm
He treated
concerned.
me. See, the only reason I come at, there's only two people's throat I come at. It's him and Gary Hughes, because I commented one time and it was something respectful, and they came at my throat both times for no reason.
Yeah.
See, Gray, I don't care for Gray because he's very hard-headed, but he's been in here a few times and he's been respectful to me, so I'll be that way. But he's very hard-headed. He doesn't want.
Like I went in there and all I said was,
He's setting his way.
what's the narrative in here? And he brought my comment up, and he's like, look at this guy asking, what's the narrative in
Yeah,
here?
that's
I'm
what
like,
I don't like about him.
I'm just
He acts-
asking what you guys are thinking.
yeah, that's what I don't care for with him. But it
What
is what
the
it is.
hell? I can't even be nice.
I mean, well, and in all honesty, that's kind of how it turned out to be at some point. But which channel you go to has which narrative. Yeah,
So that's why I'm an asshole 50% of the time, because I learned being nice doesn't work.
Right. I try to give every creator I can respect, even the ones that, like, even T-Bone. I'll give respect because of what they do.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I absolutely have to agree with how they do it or the type of person they are. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's it too, right there, SRB. He's beyond extremely cocky. And
I don't know why.
Why are you so cocky, bro? Tell
He's
me
like
that.
60. He probably has like fucking, ED or something. Like, relax.
One thing I can't stand is that stupid little thing he wears with his hair flipped out. That drives me nuts.
I'm
like, come on.
31 and a fucking ox, bro. Relax yourself. I just don't understand why people are assholes. Like, when people come in and say hi to me or ask questions, I'm nice. Like, I try to be respectful. These people just are asses.
That's how Daniel was to me too. He freaking had me muted half the time, and I was like, "What the?" I didn't even know because I was brand new to YouTube, and I'm sitting there talking, and he's cutting me off, which I'm already pissed off about. But then I went back and listened to it, and he had me fucking muted.
Listen, Daniel and I got along. Okay, we did completely.
Don't even get me started on the drunk chicken.
I know.
I'm out of this combo.
It's just ego. It's such ego, and he has no reason to be so full of ego.
We were both on each other's channels, okay, and we both completely disagreed to an extreme on both ends, okay. And he would say something, and I didn't agree, but I respected it enough to talk, and we could talk about it. But I've noticed, and I say this, I'm not being derogatory. I won't talk down about him, but he's really, really hardcore pushing that guilty thing, no matter what. And I'm like, okay, bro. So debating with him is going to be hard because he doesn't seem to want to hear the other side of it anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't want
That's
to
what,
debate with him
but
because
here's what
he
upsets
doesn't
me.
want an
Here's what
honest
upsets me the
debate.
most. He came on to, not my channel, but he came on the Dinky's channel, right? When me and Dinky kind of go, I'm with Dinky all the time when he's going live. And
Yeah.
we had a
Dinky's awesome.
5-hour conversation of like man-to-man logical conversation.
Yeah.
So to hear that and then to hear how he acts now, I can't process that in my mind because to me that is so fucking fake that
There's
we
a
just had a
change.
5-hour conversation.
There's definitely a bit of a change. That's why I don't want to
So I
don't
know
wanna
why
get him
there's a
started,
change,
so.
and the reason is Steve, and I get it.
Yeah.
It's influence, but
I understand.
anyway.
I do. I understand. So thank you, Ezra. But anyway, Mom, thank you so very much for joining us up here tonight. Kimber, always happy to have you here. Donald, I appreciate you. Mama Bear had to go to bed.
There you
So
go. Anytime.
Willie, always love having you here, bro. I always love your input and your
Yeah,
feelings.
man. Thanks for having me. Been a while.
Always. And Sonny, it's been a long time. I'm grateful that you joined us tonight.
Yeah, thanks again. It was fun to be back. It's been a lot of fun.
Make sure you keep coming back. I appreciate you. So, like I said, guys, I want to set this up. Maybe, like I said, I may even do it tomorrow night. I want to do a nice, clean, calm, no screaming matches. Everybody being an adult, debatable situation where we can talk about the evidence and the things that are on both sides of the track with this, and break
Well, let
it
me
down.
ask you
And
something.
everybody's thoughts on this.
Do you know
Yes,
3
yes,
people?
Mittens, I do. I do have enough bacon.
Do you know,
Okay, go
do
ahead.
you know 3 people that think he's like guilty?
Oh yeah, there's 2 people in here, I think. For sure.
All right,
that have,
perfect.
that have actual like facts though that point to his.
Well, listen. The only facts people are going to have are what's out there from the prosecution. So that's what they're
all
going to
there
bring.
really is. That's all there really is.
I mean, there's no other facts people can really bring.
Well, that and from the defense. I mean, they can't lie in court. So like if they're saying if Anne is saying something in court, she can't be lying. Now she might be mistaken though. So
Anne can't lie.
Definitely.
No, Anne can't lie at all. That's why when she said about the total lack of DNA in the car, people were like, "Oh, she can just no, she can't lie."
I mean,
And
defense.
she doubled down today on that too, and the judge stopped her. The judge stopped her. She was like, "There's no victim's
Hold on.
DNA anywhere, Your Honor."
Hold on. What'd you say, Don?
What about the DM? They said today they think the DM statements were false.
There's a lot of stuff about Dylan's statements, and we're going to touch on that when we do it too. So,
okay.
That's all been
4
changed
times she
around.
changed her story.
I'm sorry?
Isn't that what they said? 4 times she changed her story?
Probably, but again, that can be attributed to a situational trauma. So it is what it is.
Man.
We'll talk about it. Calm
I'll
down.
give you that it could be.
8 hours? That's a whole work day.
I get it. I have issues with it too, bro. I'm telling you,
me.
but we have to approach it in a way.
I wish I was that chick.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. Because if I was ever married, I'd just fucking take out my husband and be like, wasn't me. What are you laughing at?
Yeah,
This is
I'm
what-
sorry, Willie. It's
this
not
is
that
what
easy.
unfold.
Willie, it's not that easy because any case, if one or the other spouse dies,
I'm just kidding. Listen, I'm
suspect the other
kidding
spouse.
I'm kidding 95% of the time. Trust me.
I know you are. Absolutely. So look for this. Maybe I'll put it on a community page. I'll throw it on X, whatever the hell it's called.
All right, Willie, where can I meet you to convince you about Karen Reed's psychotic?
No, there's absolutely nowhere you convince me after hearing Trooper Paul.
We'll do that here too. We'll do that this coming week. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You cannot base your guilt or innocence of that woman based on Trooper Paul's testimony.
Why no? That's the okay. Okay. I guess I'll just ixnay the law. No problem.
She is an evil woman.
Whatever. Well, yeah. So is Jennifer McCabe that didn't Google at 2:30 something. It was at 6. Whatever.
Wait a minute. Hold on to that. Keep that till we do that. It's coming.
I thought you said that you would have a friendly debate with me, but you're coming at me like I'm an asshole.
I'm scared of 2 women in this world, and that is 1, I told you before, Sarah Boone, and 2, Jennifer McCabe. That's it.
Let me tell you,
Sleep on that. Have a
the
great night.
the
Nice talking to
villain,
you,
the
everybody.
villain that
Mwah.
you've made out to be
God
Jen
bless you.
McCabe.
You better make that 3, Willie. Taylor to business.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
No. She's guilty of sin. The only 3 innocent people are Richard Allen, Bryan Kohberger, and Karen Reed. That's it. Have a good night.
okay,
Well, I'll see you
Willie.
later, Willie. He's a mess. Anyway, this is
I
going to
can't.
be.
I can't do that one, Dago, because it really hurts my heart because those innocent people have been tortured, and like Jen McCabe is a mom with 4 kids, and they have made her out to be this psycho murderer. Like she's
I know,
her
and
whole
I
life
think
is-
I think it's extreme. And I'll be honest with you, Sonny. I think that Karen Reed could be innocent, but I don't believe the whole McCabe thing. I'm not on that train.
I would not say this if there was one chance that she could be that she could be innocent. That bitch killed John O'Keefe and she left him in the snow to die. And she has now basically ripped an entire community apart. She has stolen the college career from a young man. She has taken scholarships away. She took those poor children, already lost their mother and father, and then they lost John, who was their surrogate father. And she completely villainizes everybody that will not believe her. And these people like Willie that get on these programs and believe that, like, here's the thing is that, if Karen Reed wants to say she's innocent, you can put on a vigorous defense. But to sit there and blame innocent people and call them murderers and go to their children's soccer games and sit there and call them murderers
Yeah,
and
that's
turn
extreme.
the city against them,
Right.
that
I
is a
agree.
whole different ball of wax. That is not a vigorous defense, and that is not okay. And that's the problem where social media got in, because that would have never happened
No, I
without.
agree.
I'll
That's extreme.
tell you something else, Dago. There is corruption. So anybody that wants corruption, it's with Josh Levy. There was
Oh,
corruption.
yeah, I agree with you on that too. I do.
And Karen Reed's father knows Josh Levy, and David Unetti knows Josh Levy. And why do you think Josh Levy fucking didn't come out and talk to the O'Keefes? Why do you think the O'Keefes never got to talk with them? Why do you think the only interview Paul O'Keefe ever did said, I have tried to call Josh Levy and email Josh Levy more times than I can count. Short of me going and camping outside of his office, I don't know why the man won't talk to us. We're the victim's family.
Gotcha.
That man,
You and Brandy gonna watch a movie tonight?
Me?
Yeah, you and Brandy.
I have no idea. I have to go do a couple of things, and I may be back in here with the site or the paranormal thing tonight. I'm trying hard. But I got to get out of here so I can go do that. Either way, so, I'm with you on some of what you're saying, Sonny, but hang on to it. Don't let go of that, because I want you to use that when we do this next week. Okay. I really would love to hear a debate on Karen Reed, because I have my own thoughts and I want to hear people's thoughts on that as well. So we're going to do that this coming week. Have a good night, Willie. And I appreciate your input on this. I really do. Some of the stuff you just said, very good points, dear. Very good points.
I mean, I can't do it with people like that are going to be emotional like Willie, and like, I love Willie, but for him to sit there and call Jennifer McCabe a villain like that, like, if there was any evidence, the FBI would have already arrested people. They have come, they have gone. All they found,
And that's where
Willie.
that's where the emotions, you have to be able to pull your emotions back. I agree with you.
all they found were some mean texts by Proctor. Meanwhile, all these texts from Karen are being leaked, but all these people that support her don't give a shit that she's calling people fat and bitches and cunts and whores. And she has not come out once and asked her supporters to say, could you maybe not attack John's family? Thank you so much for, supporting me, but maybe don't call his mom a cunt. Maybe don't do that. That's pretty disrespectful.
I agree.
If she was innocent, don't you think she would do that? Fuck yeah, I woulda. I would have went to their house that night and I would have said, where's my man? I would have went to the morning I found him there. I would have turned to Jen and said, what the fuck happened here last night? There's a million things that I can point to that any normal human being would do if they dropped off their man at somebody's house to drink one night and they didn't come home. She called John's best friend and said that he was dead at 5 o'clock in the morning. Told his best friend that he was hit by a plow and that he was dead at 5 o'clock in the morning. They didn't even find him until 6:30.
I know, and that was something I questioned myself. And these are the things that those things right there. I can tell you're passionate about this one, hon. I can actually feel it. So good. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Go spend some time with Brandy, Dago. Go see your wife.
Oh, I'm going to, hon. I'm going to. Thank you again, Sunny, for joining us, hon. Kimber, Mom, everybody else. I really appreciate you guys. And like I said, tomorrow I'll be back in the morning. If I don't make it in here tonight, I'm trying, but I'll be back in the morning for the morning show. And tomorrow night, I guess, is when we're going to hit that. So once again, everybody, thank you, everybody that joined me up here. Everybody in the chat, don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. And don't change a thing, because you are all the beautiful people. And I will see you guys very soon.
Thanks. Good night, Dago. Good night, everybody.
You did.
Typing at the speed of light, hunting down the shadows, bringing wrongs to right, digging deep in the data, facts sharp as a knife. With every single story, he's fighting for a life. A voice for the voiceless, he won't stay quiet. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. Streaming loud and clear, cracking cases open, hearts filled with fear. His channel's a beacon in a world gone wrong. He guides us through the chaos, a soldier so strong. The clicks and the likes, they follow his lead. With every new case, he plants a new seed. Sharing their stories, giving hope where it fades. Daniel's a warrior through the trials he waits. In a world of silence, he shouts out their names. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. From the shadows you rise, streaming loud and clear. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every